And today we hit the final 2 weeks of the college baseball season, and we've got 2 spots to be determined for the Men's College World Series, including here at Stanford, where it's a winner-take-all Game 3 of this Super Regional between the Texas Longhorns and the #8 overall seed Stanford Cardinal. Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. It all comes down to this in this best of 3 between Texas and Stanford to see who goes to the Men's College World Series. On Friday, 8 teams will descend on Omaha, Nebraska, and that includes the #1 overall seed Wake Forest, headed there for the first time since the 50s, and then the #1 team for a lot of the season in LSU. Meanwhile, out west here, Texas took Game 1 in comeback fashion on Saturday. Last night, that belonged to Quinn Matthews. The Stanford senior star dealt a 156-pitch complete game with 16 strikeouts. Told his postgame they weren't going to take the rack from me. And his head coach, David Esker, said postgame one of the greatest pitching performances in Stanford postseason history. These are the particulars, and Quinn told us last night he wants to be available for 3 outs in this game. When you doubt him with what he did, as we say hello and welcome to the farm at Stanford. Kyle Peterson, Mike Monaco with you. We've got a Game 3, and the reason why, KP, the legendary performance of Quinn Matthews.
It was that. I mean, it absolutely was that. Stanford gave up 5 in the 9th inning, the opener against Texas. So yesterday becomes winner. Well, for Stanford, if you win that one, then today becomes winner take all. Two was do exactly what David Esker said. It was one of the greatest performances they've ever had here, and it was a day that they absolutely needed.
Yeah, he emptied the tank. He saved the Stanford bullpen. Meanwhile, pitching-wise, for Texas, they've had a great 1-2 starting pitching punch. Today, they give the ball to Tanner Witt, a guy with first-round upside, but only a month ago he came back from Tommy John.
Freshman year, he had a great year. It was entirely out of the bullpen, though. Then went and pitched for the national team. Last year was looked to be a weekend guy, made just 2 starts, then went down with Tommy John. So now still trying to work Tanner Witt back in. The longest he's gone in any start is 3 innings, and I think that's one thing to watch tonight. If they get 9 outs, that's probably a good night. Then it becomes a bullpen day, which it may be for both of these teams. You're throwing everybody tonight.
And behind Witt, there's a scary arm that looms as well. Insane Morehouse. What about the offense for Texas? Well, Eric Kennedy has swung it well for the Longhorns throughout this series. He tries to continue his collegiate career in this Game 3. Who goes to Omaha? We will find out. First pitch coming up next. Baseball.
The 2023 Men's College World Series begins Friday on ESPN.
ESPN Plus, it's in the app. Everything you want right here, no cap.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallets? We've had good crowds for all 3 games now out here at this Texas Stanford Super. Texas, again, the road team like in Game 1 on Saturday, in the lineup for head coach David Pierce, looking for a 39th trip to the Men's College World Series, and the star right fielder is Dylan Campbell.
Yeah, and you feel like Dylan Campbell's going to get it going today. Came in on a 38-game hit streak that was broken in Game 1 of this Super Regionals. Does not have a hit yet here, but he's got a whole lot of them this year. He's been the most consistent offensive performer for Texas. But now face a freshman right-hander today. And a kid that's had an interesting year. Nick Dugan is going to probably work himself into the weekend rotation. He has 2 decisions this year, a win and a save. They both came on the same day, and they both came last weekend when he threw both ends of the doubleheader, both elimination games for Stanford, and was a big part of the reason that they made it to Game 7. Now out there in a starting role to try to keep this season going.
That is the stage in the 2nd consecutive postseason weekend for Nick Dugan in his 7th collegiate start. He deals ball 1 to the freshman first baseman for Texas, Jared Thomas, and away we go. This Super has been a ton of fun so far. A win on both sides. Texas, you said the comeback with 5 runs in the 9th inning on Saturday on just 1 hit. And then yesterday, Quinn Matthews stole the show. He was on PTI earlier today as well.
There's a lead story on the bottom line last night. We got back to the hotel. We don't see that a lot from college baseball. That means something pretty special happened, and it's exactly what Quinn Matthews did.
156 pitches. It's outside. Asked David Pierce down on the field before the game, what's the most pitches you've seen a guy throw in person? He said 156.
I just saw it. There he is.
He will join us on a headset during this game. Dugan's 2-2 to Thomas. Misses. No, it's a delayed strike 3 call. Hang with it, kid.
A little late, but the right call. Kevin Sweeney back behind home plate, and it was a breaking ball that caught the back edge. Home plate umpires a lot of times, they'll get a little bit of a scouting report. They haven't seen a whole lot, but for Kevin Sweeney, thought about it for a minute. But ultimately got it right. Breaking ball on the outside part of the plate for the freshman Nick Dugan. First out's a punch out to get things started.
Is that as long as you've seen?
Well, I looked down because I didn't think that he was going to call it. So, yeah, it was up there. As long as you get it right.
Which they did. It's backwards K of Thomas, and now Peyton Powell takes a definitive ball on the first offering from Dugan. Powell, the redshirt junior third baseman, second team Big 12, came here second on the team in OPS. For the weekend, he's 2 for 8, couple of singles, and trying to get going here in the postseason, going back to the start of that conference tournament in the Big 12 in Arlington, Texas. One. So the strikeout came on the breaking ball, but that is not the most used secondary for Dugan.
His changeup's his best, and he's already thrown it a few times in this inning. It's got good arm side movement, about 10, 12 miles an hour less than his fastball, but that is the one he's felt most comfortable throwing for most of the year.
Sliced down the line by Powell toward the corner, and that tails foul.
I think it's going to fly a little different tonight. A little bit warmer. Last night it got pretty chilly, and what wind there was coming in. Now there's really not much wind at all, but whatever there is pushing it out towards left center field. But it has the feeling of a little bit more offensive night.
Wardrobe choice for you, good, bad? How you feeling so far?
We're good so far,
okay.
with backup if needed. So thank you.
That's a change. Listed foul toward the Texas dugout. Yeah, it was not flying last night. Or a few different balls that, talking to the coaches, they felt like, well, maybe those would have been home runs in game 1 on Saturday. 2-2 to Powell, and he rolls it right side. Drew Bowser ranges left, and 2 down for Dugan here in the first. And so Dugan, those 2 outings, both of them last Sunday, 110 pitches combined. His head coach, David Esker, told us coming into this weekend, shoot, I had never thrown a guy both games of a doubleheader. I knew I had a lot of pitches that I could use from Dugan, but David Esker had never done that before.
And they had worked him up. He had thrown 85 pitches against Oregon the week before, and so was built up to go a fair amount. Yeah, game 1 of the doubleheader, he went 3 2/3 against Fullerton, got the win, gave up just 1 run, came back in the nightcap against A&M, went 3 2/3, and got the save. 110 pitches combined.
Here's Dylan Campbell. A ball and a strike on the junior right fielder in the 3 spot from Houston. First team Big 12. Team leader in OPS with a career best mark. And a wonderful year for the ultra-talented outfielder. Chops it foul. Saturday's hitting streak ended, of course. Texas fans have heard this by now. At 38 games at Texas, and a Big 12 record. And as we showed you out the top, looking for his first hit in this series. 2-2. Dylan told us this weekend, this season, he has just relaxed. He's having more fun than he had his first couple of years. Lifts the 2-2 and to center. Eddie Park creeps in. A 1-2-3 for the freshman in this winner take all. Tanner Witt to the bump against the Stanford Bats when we come back to the farm. All right, Witt, this Stanford lineup comes up for the first time with Eddie Park at the top of a group. 11th best in the country in runs per game, and he really sets the tone.
Yeah, he does, what is it, 48 pitches that he's seen so far this weekend for your leadoff hitter? Folks, they've only played 2 games. He's seen 48 pitches so far. And we showed you that 6, 7, 8, 9 in his lineup is really where the power has come from. Stanford has just 3 home runs over the weekend. Malcolm Moore has 1. Drew Bowser in the 7th slot has 2. I think you may see a few more of those tonight.
They go up against Tanner Witt. We told you off the top. Is super talented, a guy who came here to Austin as a big-time recruit. They got him through the MLB draft a few years later. He's starting to still ramp things up and in a big spot here.
And he was a big spot of their club a few years ago. He was coming out of the bullpen, but made appearances at the back end of the season. Heck, he pitched in Omaha. Last year made just 2 starts. Still coming back from Tommy John. So I think the big question is how far can he go? The furthest he's gone this year is 3 innings, and the most pitches that he's thrown is 44. But it's first-round stuff and first-round talent as he continues to work himself back healthy.
Might have Zane Morehouse behind him, and who knows, maybe the #1 starter for Texas too. In relief, Lucas Gordon, he is available. First pitch from Witt misses to Eddie Park, so make it 49. Talked to David Pierce, Texas head coach, before the game. He counted up all 48 of the pitches this morning, he told us. Park skies the second one to left at Porter Brown. What away.
I love the fact that he went and did that. And make sure he's got an accurate count. David Pierce going and counted every one. That'll take you a little bit, too. And one of those, I think the first at bat of the weekend, he put the first pitch in play.
Could have been even higher. So 1 away for Witt. And now Tommy Troy climbs in. Likely first-round pick, junior third baseman. First team Pac-12. And we showed you that the bottom of the lineup for Stanford's been good in the first couple of games. The top of the order hasn't necessarily been vicious. It's a line shot past the dive of Mitch Daly at short. And there's Tommy Troy announcing himself with just his second hit of the weekend. A 1-out knock in the first.
He can give you some loud contact, that's for sure. Tommy Troy, you said, a little bit quiet so far this weekend. Got a 1-0 fastball outer half. Pretty good effort by Mitchell Daly, too. I think it's hit the end of his glove. But instead goes for a single to left. Stanford's got a 1-out base runner here in the first.
For the 3 spot, the first baseman, Carter Graham. Junior from L.A., first team Pac-12 also. 2 for 11 this weekend. A couple of singles. Take strike 1. Breaking ball has always been really impressive for Tanner Witt. Even in the innings he's thrown collegiately, it's got really high spin rate. Graham off the end of the bat to right center at Dylan Campbell, and a couple of fly ball outs for Tanner Witt here in the first.
The biggest thing you watch with anybody that's coming back is how far are the misses away. Because generally, and Witt's a good control guy, it was his first year there. If the misses are far away, you're still kind of fighting to try to find the release point and maybe make sure that it doesn't hurt. If the misses are close, then generally it's feeling pretty healthy out there.
Climbs onto the rubber with 2 outs and Troy at first. For the cleanup man and DH for Stanford, Braden Montgomery. And this one gets past Garrett Gilmet. And Tommy Troy moves up, takes a big turn, and thought about third as well. This bears monitoring because Texas had some receiving issues behind the plate yesterday.
Yeah, Gilmet dropped a fair amount of it yesterday. And this is not exactly a ballpark that you want the ball to go behind your catcher. I mean, this is like playing in Oakland. There's as much foul territory here as there is in any college ballpark, especially right behind home plate. That's why Tommy Troy takes a peek right there, and you have seen guys go first to third on a ball that gets all the way to the backstop.
It's on flash as a wild pitch assessed to Tanner Witt. That was 1-0 to Montgomery. Cuts through the off speed. Good change.
Good change, good sign right there for Witt, too. The ability to throw that one, especially against the left-handers in the Stanford lineup.
getting a solid amount of swing and miss on the change. Off speed again for a land strike, and it's 1-2. That's a pretty breaking ball from Tanner Witt. 7 strikeouts for him since coming back at the beginning of May. 6 of those 7 have come on the hook. Troy dances at a 1-2. Yanked. So misses and how big they are. We've seen a couple with the fastball, and that's the pitch that it feels like maybe has been the last to come, talking with David Pierce.
Yeah, I think mentally when you're coming back from injury, the fastball is the toughest one to really trust yourself and get full extension and make sure you can feel like you're throwing through your catcher.
2-2. Because it's a matter of just totally letting it rip.
Yeah, because it used to hurt. I mean, your body remembers what it felt like before he had Tommy John done, and sometimes it just takes a certain amount of time to get that confidence back.
So he leaned on the off speed again from change to curve, and now a full count on Montgomery.
First base open right here. You would think this is something off speed again to Montgomery.
3-2. It is, and it's down. So Montgomery occupies that open bag now, and there's 2 on for the 5-hole hitter, Alberto Rios, the Pac-12 Player of the Year. What a season it's been, and what a story for Alberto Rios. His head coach David Esker said to us at the start of this weekend, I mean, who sees this coming?
And who sees kids stay after that happens the first 2 years? Didn't have a hit, had just 7 bats. Look out.
Witt throws it into center on a pickoff bid, and out to in scoring position, and this is danger zone early for Tanner Witt.
It's just kind of self-induced. I don't think Tommy Troy's going to try to steal third base right there either. So interesting that they're trying the quick pick right there. But high arm side off the back of that mound. Troy saw it immediately. Montgomery ends up at second base. Now Stanford has 2 in scoring position with 2 outs.
Second and third, 2 outs in the first, and the first pitch to Rios. Fastball tugged to the glove side again. Witt's 1-0. Breaking ball misses. 2-0 on Alberto Rios. Texas has made sure that it starts Tanner Witt. All 6 outings since coming back. He has been a starting pitcher, and that's not uncommon with guys coming back from TJ. That's a strike. But it might be rare that when you're coming back from TJ, just your 6th outing, only 9 2/3 innings so far, that you're pitching for a trip to the Men's College World Series. Long hold, 2-1. 3 balls and a strikeout to Rios.
For Witt coming in those 9 2/3 innings, now 10 1/3. 8 walks in 10 1/3 innings.
3-1. That's a strike. And a full count at the top of the zone.
3-1 right on right changeup. That would probably surprise Rios. I don't know if that's circled in the scouting report right there. The right-handers are going to get a whole lot of those.
Witt's payoff. Caught and missed. Oh, that is a big strikeout with the curve early on for Tanner Witt. Leaning heavily on the off speed, and he leads 2 in scoring position.
Pretty big spot. Kid coming back from Tommy John works himself into a little bit of a jam, but that one still tends to work. It's a scoreless first in Palo Alto. Winner goes to Omaha.
Sunken diamond the site for Texas and Stanford. The only 2 teams from last year's Men's College World Series still standing. Go to the second. 4, 5, and 6 for the Horns, beginning with the USC transfer and catcher Garrett Gilmetz against Nick Dugan. Pounding the zone, it's 0-2 from Dugan to Gilmetz.
Early going for Dugan, but he's had control of both of the off-speed pitches, the breakable and the changeup. He's thrown each in this at-bat to Gilmetz to get ahead 0-2.
Good deals. Gilmetz stays alive. We talked about how much Nick Dugan threw on Sunday during regionals last weekend. David Esker jokingly told the team after the game, "Hey Dugan, you're starting tomorrow." In what ended up being Game 7 regional final. A roller into the shift at Drew Bowser. Second baseman throws out Gilmetz. It's 4 up, 4 down for the freshman from California, Nick Dugan.
That's a pretty good day when you get a win and a save in the same afternoon and continue the season for your club. That's exactly what Dugan did. Again, he didn't have any decisions over the course of the year, but 7 1/3 in one day, 110 pitches, a win and a save. And Stanford would advance the following day with a win over A&M.
Nick said afterward, "In high school, I've closed the game, then started the next one, but that would probably be the most pitches I've ever thrown in a day." What he did last weekend on that stage. Now he faces Porter Brown, 5-hole left fielder for Texas. The TCU transfer hits it right at the shortstop. Timo Becerra gets another start for Owen Cobb. A couple of ground ball outs to short, and 2 away in the second. This Texas offense trying to get in gear. Remember in the regionals, they had that one huge inning in the clinching win over Miami. They had a 9-run third. The other 2 games, they had 4 and 4. And in that 9-run outburst, that was 9 of the 10 they scored. They had a 5-run 9th inning here. So outside of a couple of big innings, trying to get the bats going.
Kennedy can do that. Game 1, he had a home run. Next time up, at a bunt single.
5th-year senior outfielder, we spotlighted off the top, takes a strike. He's 4 for 8 for the series here, plus a walk. Couple of extra base hits, including that home run Saturday. Swings through the off-speed.
Here's the good changeup. We talked a lot last night about Quinn Matthews, and Dugan has that one today. Fastball to even the count at 1-1, and the changeup there on the swing through.
1-2. Talking to David Pierce on the field, he said, "What do you got on Dugan?" I said, "Good changeup." He said, "Well, we should be used to that after what we saw last night."
We saw a few of those last night.
He wanted them to see it up from Quinn Matthews, just couldn't do that. 1-2 again. Down.
I think offensively for Texas, it's a similar approach tonight. I mean, Dugan's going to work more down in the zone. That changeup, I mean, you never want to throw the changeup up in the zone. Ideally, you want it down and out of the zone.
That was out of the zone, and now it's a full count on Eric Kennedy. Two outs, bases empty, the payoff. And Kennedy rolls it towards second. Bowser was played toward first, and Kennedy is on as the first Texas base runner in this ballgame. It was 16 strikeouts and just 1 walk from Quinn Matthews. David Pierce tipped his cap after game 2 yesterday that evened this thing up and set up this decisive winner-take-all to close down this best-of-3 Super Regional with 2 spots remaining in Omaha at the Men's College World Series. Here's the freshman from San Antonio, the DH in the 7th spot, Jalen Flores. Big recruit who the Longhorns ensured they got to Austin. His bat has come on recently. Kennedy goes, the pitch a ball, the throw from Moore does not get the speedy Eric Kennedy, who moves up into scoring position.
Like the approach in David Pierce right there. How come Moore over the course of the season had thrown out just 9 of 45 base runners, so 20%. You got a freshman on the mound. A lot of times young kids not the best at holding them on. Kennedy got a great break, was in easily.
1-1 pitch. Flores takes a strike. Like you said, both breaking balls are both off-speed pitches, but pretty good for Dugan. With Kennedy at second, 2 outs, and Dugan's 1-2. Hits Flores. So 2 on for Texas here in the second.
I think they're going to say it hit the knob.
David Pierce strolls down from the third base coach's box and wants to talk it over with Kevin Sweeney.
The hand start, when the hands start, usually that means that the knob's going to show up. I don't know. I think it hit it. I think it hit his right arm.
I do too.
Yeah. It's whether or not it hits the knob of the bat first, but I don't think it did.
You can challenge this, and David Pierce didn't waste any time. He is. If you're new to college baseball, the way challenges work, coaches get 2 challenges per game, and you retain it if you're successful. So for David Pierce, if this gets overturned, you still got 2 for the rest of the ball game.
I mean, the only way that you keep it the same is if you think it hit the knob of the bat first. And if it did, then immediately it's foul and it doesn't happen. But it clearly hit that back arm. I think Flores is going to end up on first base.
This happened to him in Game 1 on Saturday as well after a protracted plate appearance.
So we get 6 already on to Omaha. Schedule just got announced, I believe, didn't it? Didn't it come out? And the Tennessee Southern Miss, which I would think would be the last team to go, and they're 9 o'clock local tonight, so 10 o'clock Eastern. Once again, they will be well hydrated in Hattiesburg tonight.
Yeah, that's going to be a 10:06 Eastern time first pitch. You can watch it over on ESPNU. The Pete will be popping. These are the tickets punched so far.
For the 8 top national seeds, Stanford with a chance to be the 5th if they win this. Oral Roberts, a 4 seed, and to go on the road both times, win at Oklahoma State, then go and win at Oregon. 3 great baseball games up there. The Frogs are back in Omaha for the 6th time in program history, first since Kirk Sarlos took over the helm.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun to watch, and we're getting close to it. Starting on Friday, and we talked about this last night in Game 2 of this Super. There is so much star power that you've got. I mean, this is just a sampling of some of the guys that are going to be descending on Omaha.
There's 4 first-rounders this year on that list, and the only reason that Caglione isn't one is because he's only a sophomore. But Rhett Lauder has been unbelievable for Wake really his entire career. But carried it over. Wyatt Langford's probably a top 5 pick. Cruz is a top 5 pick. Skeens is a top 5 pick. We're going to have some fun at Omaha this year.
All right, well, they just came back out of the challenge by David Pierce. He doesn't like the answer. It's a foul ball still.
I mean, it had to have been that they thought it hit the knob and then hit his arm. I didn't see it that way. I didn't think there was anything definitive enough that would have said it.
Wow, so that is a big swing here in the second. And now the pitch to Flores, and he bounces it towards short at Timo Becerra. So instead of 2 on for Texas, the second inning ends for the Horns in some frustration. Middle of the second at Sunken Diamond in this Game 3. You're watching the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. To the bottom of the second inning, no score just yet. Still looking for first blood in Game 3. Tanner Witt on the bump for Texas, ready to face 6, 7, and 8 for the Cardinal. 19 pitches from Witt in the first. Told you his top pitch count, as KP said earlier, has been in the 40s so far since coming back. Malcolm Moore has been mashing this weekend, really all season. The Pac-12 Freshman of the Year, who was the best catcher recruit in the country in his class. He'll be draft eligible next year as a sophomore. Good off speed.
See a little glove tap that Witt does going towards home plate. Just a timing mechanism as he's coming. So as he's starting his move home, you'll see that ball come out of the glove just for a minute. A little tap before he goes on home.
And Moore pulls it out of the reach of Jared Thomas and in the right field. It is a 6th hit of this super for Malcolm Moore, and a leadoff knock for Stanford in the 2nd. Our Wednesday night baseball doubleheader starts with a Subway Series matchup at 7 Eastern. Second game of a 2-game series between the Yankees and Mets at Citi Field, and then followed by our West Coast primetime game between the White Sox and Dodgers. Both games right here on ESPN, ESPN Deportes as well, and as always on the ESPN app. All right, it brings up Drew Bowser, power-hitting second baseman from Los Angeles, who takes ball 1, and Bowser's got a couple home runs in the first 2 games of this Super Regional. Bowser skies this one, struck well to center. It's another for Drew Bowser. This kid can mash. Stanford strikes first.
Kid out of Westlake High School down in LA, and when he came in, one of the most highly touted recruits in the entire country. Averaged down a little bit this year. Power's not. Home runs in each of the first 2 games were on sliders. This wasn't. It felt like the book today for Texas may have been, we're going to go fastball heavy. Well, Bowser got enough of it, rides it out, Stanford strikes first. That ball does not go out last night.
No, no way. Man. Now Sabor Campbell grabs one out of the reach of the third baseman, Peyton Powell, and it's 3 straight hits for Stanford to begin this bottom of the 2nd.
That same part of the lineup that's been doing the damage. 6, 7, 8, 9 has been so good for Stanford this entire super. 3 hits for that run so far today. So here's Bowser. This is in game 1. Breaking ball hung deep into left field. That was 113 off the bat. You get to do the home run punch thing. Then he did it again yesterday. Yesterday's may not have got quite as far, but counted the exact same. Another one today that went further than both of them.
Yeah, yesterday was 114. Drew Bowser. As Timo Becerra squares and pulls back. We always talk about verbs for home runs. Chris Burke, our guy, he would say smushed. He says that's his favorite.
Smushed?
For a home run.
I think he needs to try harder.
2-0 on the 9-hole hitter, the shortstop Timo Becerra. We know Berkey is watching somewhere, and there's already activity in the pen.
Yep.
And look who it is, Zane Morehouse, nicknamed Nightmare. He's been nasty the last couple of weekends, and how long can you wait if you're David Pierce and pitching coach Woody Williams?
I think 2 things. How long can you wait and how long can he go? For Morehouse, he faced 3 guys, punched them all out game 1 of this super, did not pitch yesterday. So you would think you can extend him at least 50, 60 at a minimum. And the stuff was electric in game 1. But, I mean, typical game, you give up 2 in the 2nd inning, nobody's moving to the bullpen. This is not a typical game. This is when you want your best high leverage guys in the bullpen in there as soon as you need them.
Witt, meanwhile, 28 pitches with Morehouse readying. 5 of the first 8 have reached against Witt so far. 2-0, Becerra again squares, and he bunts it foul.
That was ball 3. Now let Witt back in the count here. one thing that I think can't be overlooked with Timo Becerra either. He hasn't made an error at shortstop this year. Yeah, I know he's got less than 10 starts, but still, defensively, that was the issue. Owen Cobb made 18 of them. Since they put Becerra in primarily for defense, the offense has been pretty good, but the defense has been perfect. Here comes David Pierce.
After the first strike on Timo Becerra. So the questions, as you said, how long do you wait, and how long could Zane Morehouse go? David Pierce looks out in the direction of Morehouse and chats with Witt, and now he signals. Do or die for these teams in Game 3 of this Super Regional, with a trip to Omaha hanging in the balance, and Stanford struck first.
Second and third verse the same as the first. That's home runs in each of the first 3 games for Drew Bowser. That a 2-run shot. That the difference so far as Texas goes to their closer in the second.
Zane Morehouse in Game 1 was nasty. Struck out the side on 16 pitches in the ninth.
You like 96-mile-an-hour cutters, you're going to like Zane Morehouse, because that's exactly what Stanford got in the opener. It was punch out, punch out, punch out. He pretty much just threw one thing. Saw a slider or two, but really leaned on that cutter. And it was 95, 96 consistently. So beginning of the year, Morehouse was a starter. Then as the season went on, Texas moves him to the bullpen. As a starter early, he was as high as 90 pitches. Since moving to the pen, the most that he's gone is 49 pitches. Over a strikeout an inning with a big-time fastball.
Yeah, so that's 3 months where he hasn't hit 50 pitches, but you get the feeling he will empty the tank as much as he can in this one. Becerra again can't get the bunt down. So now it's 2-2 on the 9-hole hitter after it went single, home run, single to start this home half of the second for Stanford. You said it watching Zane Morehouse in the ninth in person Saturday. That is big league stuff.
Yeah, it was that day.
2-2. Becerra pulls back and a full count. We're talking with Zane's roommate Porter Brown after the game, and he said the same thing. That is major league caliber stuff that he was just throwing. Moving gas, cutting, as you said. 3-2. Becerra drops it down with 2 strikes. Powell throws him out. David Esker gambles. Becerra picks him up, and Campbell moves into scoring position.
We talked about this yesterday. Stanford's not a team that does that a lot. It's just 10 sack bunts over the course of the year, but Timo Becerra has just about half of them. That was his 5th. This is a pretty good job by Peyton Powell. Because on the pitch before, whether they took it off or he just thought he took it back because it was a ball, they weren't bunting. Then 3-2, David Esker puts it back on. Powell makes a good run and play to throw him out at first base. Now, Stanford turns the lineup over.
To Eddie Park. He takes strike 1. Faint chance already emanating of Eddie Park. They've had those going for the guy they love, because with a breakdown like that, how can you not enjoy what Eddie Park does in the dish? Bounces this to Jacko down, and David Pierce is going to be thrilled, because this is a couple of times where it's only been 2 pitches thrown to Eddie Park.
Had 2 in each of the first 2 at bats, and he's taking a right turn on both of them. So it's 1 to get the pitch count up, but last night pitch count was up and he was getting on base a ton. Tonight they've retired him each of the first 2 times. Last night for Park, reached base 5 of his 6 times to the plate.
Atop a very good Cardinal offense. They've got Sabor Campbell over at third now, and this is Tommy Troy. Single to the pull side his first time, and takes ball 1. Morehouse's strikeouts the other day against Brady Montgomery, Alberto Rios, and Malcolm Moore. So didn't see Tommy Troy. That's a strike. 94 at the fringe of the edge. One down. Gilmet blocks it. David Pierce said after the outing for Morehouse, the whole key for Zane Morehouse is to attack and to be a pitcher instead of a thrower. It feels like right now Morehouse, maybe as good as he's been in terms of just being zoned into the mitt.
And bullpen will do that sometimes, to where you can go out and just be max effort, not worry about what are you going to do second time around, third time around. Just flash your best stuff right away.
This one goes to the backstop. Close play. The tag is not in time. Campbell bolts home, and it's 3-zip Stanford.
Watch where Gilmet is sitting up right here, and remember, I mean, it's mid-90s stuff on the mound. They're actually trying to go fastball in, and that one just sails. But lucky it didn't catch the bat of Tommy Troy. It just about did on the way by him. Off that concrete wall, shoots back, but Saborn Campbell can fly. That was enough to get him just to slide in, add a third run.
Now 3-1 to Troy, who chops it high to Mitch Daly, who waits on it, gets rid of it, and the inning is over. In Game 3, it's a 3-run second for Stanford to snatch the lead from Texas here at Sunken Diamond. Coverage of the Men's College World Series begins Friday at 2 Eastern on ESPN. For more info, visit NCAA.com, the home for all 90 NCAA championships. Got the Young Bucks out. Got a lot of orange here as well. There have been some Stanford luminaries that we've seen around this place also over these 3 days at Sunken Diamond, between a couple of teams that each of the last 2 years have been to Omaha in the Men's College World Series. Texas down by 3 with 8-9-1. Jacko Dowd is in a 1-ball, 1-strike count after a good change from Nick Dugan.
And a Carlos Quentin signing last night. Brought his son up just to see one of the Super Regionals games.
He was incognito. On the ground, right side. And Carter Graham takes it himself. Golden Spikes Award finalist in 2003 for the Cardinal. By the way, we've got Quinn Matthews, who will join us in the next half inning. And again, if you haven't heard this guy talk, this is what we love about college baseball, the personalities and specifically the players, because these guys are wonderful, and to bring them into your homes at this time of the year is really special to do.
They're college kids. I mean, ultimately, they're just out there playing a game, and yeah, Quinn Matthews will make you smile. Made us smile a lot on Friday. We had a chance to hang out with him for a while. Pretty healthy way that he looks at life.
Takes ownership of himself, his ability, and what he's done. And no frills. Doesn't really make excuses. 1-1. And Mitchell Daly fouls it off the end of the bat. 1-2. Daly's reasserted himself as the starting shortstop. 3-year starter now. 2 for 4 yesterday. Had a single in the 3rd. And then in the 7th, he got Quinn Matthews. Pulled a home run 404 feet. Cut it to 2 runs at the time. But Stanford had some late insurance. And Quinn Matthews still went back down to the mound. Daly takes full count.
Breaking ball for Dugan, and this one's been pretty consistent. It missed. It didn't miss by a whole lot, but it just missed.
Bouncing ball, chopped to short. And Timo Becerra's been steady, you said. And a couple of ground ball outs for Nick Dugan here in the 3rd.
So let's see second time through the order what it looks like for this Texas offense. They really haven't hit a ball hard yet. I mean, Kennedy's single was, well, it was a hit because Bowser was pulled all the way to the pull side on the infield. He hit it to really where the second baseman would traditionally be playing. But a whole lot of ground ball outs. It's 1, 2, 5, 6 ground ball outs so far for Dugan.
Now the 8th that he's got. He's got 1 strikeout against this guy, Jared Thomas. Struck out looking on a breaking ball his first time. And he rolls the first one. Bowser, and it goes past him on a sliding bid, and Thomas is on. Just the second base runner for the Horns.
Now, Bowser had him played right where they wanted him to. It was like a kind of a late movement over there for Bowser, so he's pulled way to the pull side. And off the bat, it looks like it's probably going to be an out. It's just the first move was just a little bit delayed. It was almost like he was in the air. And a lot of guys will take that little hop, step, or jump right before the ball comes in. Had to play that one off to the side, just off the top of his glove. It'll go as a hit right there. So second hit of the game. Both have been ground balls to the right side of the infield for Texas.
And neither of them smacked too hard either. But Texas will take it. And you don't want to give extra chances to a guy like this and Peyton Powell. He grounded out to second his first time back in the first inning. David Pierce said to us, you talk to guys who were with this Texas program 2 years ago, they'd be scratching their heads at what Peyton Powell has turned into. He is another wonderful story in terms of player development and the guy he's turned into in his fourth year with the Horns. He's 2 for 9 in this super with a couple of singles plus a walk. 0-2. Powell fights it off foul.
I think that's the first time today that Dugan has gone up intentionally. Everything has really been down, down, down the first time through the order. Whether it's the fastball or the 2 off-speed pitches. That time, 0-2, they were trying to climb a ladder, see if they could get a swing through.
See what he goes to on another 0-2. That's down. Runner takes off. Moore's throw. Not in time to get Jared Thomas, who made the aggressive dirt ball read and moves up 90.
I've been impressed with his instincts over the course of this weekend. Jared Thomas, just a freshman, but it's a good secondary lead. But watch the move. The minute he's not waiting to see if this gets away. He's just reading whether or not it goes in the dirt. So the secondary's there, and now he's off. And at that point, you're committed. But then he puts his head down, gets just far enough away from Moore they can't make the throw. But good aggressive base runner by the freshman right there.
And now we got a pitch timer violation. So it's on Nick Dugan, makes it 2 balls and 2 strikes. The automatic ball assessed. Again, it's 20 seconds here collegiately. Down and a full count now all of a sudden for Dugan. So what seemed to be a harmless ground ball towards second with 2 outs has turned into full count, man at second for Texas, trying to strike. The payoff. Strikes out. There's the swing and miss changeup from Nick Dugan. Saw a lot of those from this guy, Quinn Matthews, yesterday. We chat with him after this. Stanford leads Texas 3-0 in Game 3 of this Super Regional. Trip to Omaha on the line. And Quinn Matthews, the senior star left-hander for Stanford, joins us here. Quinn, thanks for doing this again. You've talked to us a lot this weekend. You threw a 156-pitch complete game yesterday. Now having some time to let that sink in, how do you feel looking back on it?
Yeah, I mean, pretty special moment having my last Stanford start here at Sunken Diamond be a complete game in a super regional. But I mean, it'll probably hit me a little more tomorrow once all this adrenaline and, you know, the weekend as a whole, win or loss, is kind of over with. It'll definitely sink in more tomorrow.
Talk me through, like, mentality after the 6th, after the 7th, after the 8th, when the pitch count obviously is going up. I don't know if you knew what it was, but you probably knew that it was getting up there. What are those discussions like in the dugout after those innings?
Yeah, I mean, I've been pitching with a relatively elevated pitch count all year. We're looking at 120, 130 pitches. So, I mean, for me, I didn't know what the pitch count was, but it wasn't anything too crazy. That'd have been harder. And, I mean, it wasn't anything out of the ordinary, I would say, physically. It was just a big moment. I was just willing to go whenever they needed me to and for as long as I could, basically.
Carter Cram with the single here to lead off the bottom of the 3rd for Stanford. Quinn, we know you're not on social media, but still, what was your phone like after the game?
Yeah, it's probably the most blown up my phone has ever been. Like I said, it was, I think I had like 120 text messages, which for me is probably like 1,000 for a normal human being. So it was definitely a lot of friends, a lot of family, and then some just, you know, random people who reached out and were, you know, awesome supporting me and the team. So I was grateful for it all, and like I said, I appreciated the support.
Why are you usually not getting a lot of text messages?
Normally I just don't respond to text messages. I'm really bad at it. I tell people if you really need me, call me or, you know, FaceTime me, because I'll get those notifications a little better. Text message, I'll like open it, read it, and I'll be like, you know, 2 days later responding to it like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry I opened this and just didn't respond.
So what was our response rate last night? How'd we do?
I made sure to, you know, thank everyone for supporting the team and supporting me specifically. I mean, it's a journey for all of us. It's an emotional roller coaster for, you know, myself and for fans. So I was, you know, making sure doing my due diligence to respond to everyone as best I could.
What kind of shoes we got on today?
We have turfs on right now, but don't be shocked if I go put spikes on in the 7th inning if need be.
If you said it after the game last night, I wanted to see what we're rocking right now. You kind of hiding it. I looked them up just a little bit.
Yeah, I swear they're turfs, but I mean I always wear turfs even when I'm coming out of the pen, so don't think that's a moment.
In all seriousness, like, what is the probability of you pitching? Is it 0?
I mean, it depends who you ask. If you want to go ask the coaches, they'll probably give you a different number than what I'll give you guys. I mean, for me, it's if they need me, I will be available, but it's probably pretty close to 0 today.
What do you remember most about last night? I mean, any moments stick out, any feelings stick out, and then what did it feel like when it was finally over?
The elevated 2-1 change that the kid hit over the fence is probably the moment that I was like, wow, that was a crummy changeup. I'd thrown so many good ones throughout that game, and I hung that one to the 9-hole, who honestly had 2 really good swings off me, put the one into the trees, and then a single and a 3-2 fastball to hit the other way. So those were definitely the 2 moments where I was like, you know what, that kid kind of got the best of me last night. And then the leadoff hitter had a couple good barrels too off of me, which is unfortunate.
Alberto Rios flies out to Dylan Campbell. Yeah, nice play and right by Campbell for out number 2 here in the last of the 3rd.
Hey, are we done with finals yet? I know we got the 29-pager in last week, but are we all done, or we got any left?
No, I'm done. I'm officially done, I believe. As long as I pass my classes this quarter, I'm officially done with school, unless I failed one, and then I'll be coming back.
Do we have any concerns, or we think we're all right?
No, I should be all right. I mean, I'm getting some press for that class, so hopefully that'll boost it a little bit if needed. Hopefully it'll boost it a little bit, so yeah, I'll be all right.
Here's Malcolm Moore with 2 outs and Carter Graham over at first against Zane Morehouse.
Always questionable to ask a question with 2 outs, but I'm going to do it anyway. What's it been like to throw the freshman this year? Obviously, he's been so good offensively this weekend, but how has he grown behind the plate?
No, I mean, I've loved Malcolm ever since he stepped foot on campus as a freshman. I mean, his catching ability has definitely improved significantly, but just his demeanor is, you know, worlds and leagues above where it should be as a true freshman.
He grounds out to Jack O'Dowd. Quinn, thank you very much for doing this during the game.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we go to the 4th inning. Stanford and the Cardinal of 3-zip on Texas here at Sunken Diamond. Tomorrow, the final 2 parts of the 4-part 30 for 30, the luckiest guy in the world. The film continues the unprecedented look into the life of the Hall of Famer, Bill Walton. All starts at 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ESPN. And if you missed parts 1 and 2 last Tuesday night, you can always watch them anytime on ESPN+. Thanks to Quinn Matthews, a little bit of an eccentric guy himself, for joining us.
He's beautiful.
This is Dylan Campbell out of the 3 spot.
He asked him before we came back. Every inning, he takes a long, deliberate look over the third base dugout. And I didn't know what it was, but he does it consistently every inning before he starts. And what was his answer? It was beautiful. We should have asked it again when he was on.
He said it's a dead tree. And because Stanford is the Cardinal, he's reminding himself he doesn't want to be a dead Cardinal.
Tree. Yes.
Not necessarily positive reinforcement,
but a reminder. Yeah, I knew there was something. I didn't know what it was. And there it is. Can you get that removed, Monaco? Can we make a call?
Yeah, I'm on it. Campbell tries to lay off and does. He didn't go around. It's a full count, according to first base umpire Jason Bradley. Do you think he has the Picture This app to tell you what every tree is?
If not, I can set him up.
That'd be helpful. 3-2. Campbell turns on it foul. Boy, if he can get going for Texas, that'd be huge.
I feel like they need him to get going. If Texas is going to go offensively, it feels like Campbell has to be in the middle of it.
David Pierce has called him as close to a 5-tool talent as I've coached. 3-2. Campbell pulls it on a line to left, but right at Alberto Rios. One away for Texas in the fourth. So, yeah, we were talking about trees, the Picture This app. You went to school here. You pitched here.
Yeah. Yep.
Are they pine trees?
No, they're not. No, backstory. Button and Chick and Runes and Berkey are in the studio for Squeeze Play a few weeks ago and texted me and said, what are the trees beyond the outfield fence? I said, well, they're pine trees. Because in my warped mind from 27 years ago, I thought there were pine trees. They're not. So I got my little app and I went out and figured out what they are. Not pine. There are pine trees here. They're just not beyond the outfield fence.
Follow-up. Warped mind then or now?
Yes.
Okay. Dual purpose. Well, Garrett Gilbert is down from Nick Dugan. Gilbert grounded to short his first time. In all seriousness, it has been a blast being out here in Stanford and Palo Alto. Both these programs first class, everyone involved. There's a strike with the heater from Dugan, 2-2. Two head coaches, a ton of fun to chat with, players on both sides. A blast. 2-2. Gilbert rolls it to third, and Tommy Troy, 2 down. Well, because you pitched here for the Warp Mind and all, you know all the great spots for food around here. We have been frequenting the Creamery on your recommendation after your playing days here.
We're back-to-back-to-back days at the Creamery for breakfast. That got me a 6-pack of hot sauce already sent to the house at home, so it's been a good night. That was the fun year. That was the one that LSU didn't hit 48 home runs off me in Omaha. That one was a little more fun.
2 outs here in the fourth for Texas, down 3. Porter Brown lines one into left center field, a base hit. Porter Brown's been one of the best bats in the Big 12 and certainly for Texas. And a 2-out single, much like Jared Thomas had for the Horns in the third.
And Brown had the big swing in the first game for Texas. 5-run 9th inning, but Porter Brown had the only hit. 2-run single to right, gave him the lead. They would hold on to that one. Now he's on there with the 2-out single here in the fourth. That's a few balls here in this inning that have been hit hard. Campbell's line out, and that time for Brown. We're really up to that point. Texas hadn't barreled anything up.
You were curious what it looked like second time through. This is Eric Kennedy, who his first time had a single and then stole a bag in the second. And he takes ball 1 from Dugan. Kennedy trying to prolong his collegiate career. Trying to get to Omaha again. Down the front.
You talked about it with Dugan. That is, I mean, that's been his best one. It's been his best one this year. It's been his best one today. Has been that changeup into Kennedy. I don't know why you throw him anything else at this point. Stay with it. If he does damage with it, so be it. But he didn't like that one.
Hole past the dive of Carter Graham and into right field. Porter Brown goes first to third, and in this second time through, Texas has something cooking.
Well, Porter Brown gets it started. 2-out single out to left center, and it brings up Kennedy, who's had himself a real good weekend. Singled his first time up. Now this time did not get the changeup. It was a breaking ball that was coming back in towards that barrel. Carter Graham holding the base runner. If he's playing normal depth, probably pretty easy play. Instead, hold him on a base, can't get to it. Back-to-back 2-out singles by the Horns.
And after a quiet regional in Coral Gables at Miami, the number 9 overall national seed, Eric Kennedy's had it rolling this weekend out west. David Pierce, from his third base coach's box, now has a conversation with the freshman Jalen Flores. Big spot for Flores. He was 0 for 3 yesterday with 3 strikeouts. Then he got pinch hit for in the 9th inning. First time today back in the 2nd, he grounded out to short. Had some good ABs in game 1. Saturday got aboard 3 times, a single, a 9-pitch walk, and got hit by a pitch in that huge 9th inning for the Horns. Freshman on freshman here in the 4th. First pitch. Flores takes ball 1. Flores had a huge swing last weekend against Miami in the clinching game for Texas. A grand slam in the 3rd that blew it open. 2-0. About to throw his 70th pitch of the evening. That misses, and it's 3-0. Two-out activity for Texas. 3-0. Misses, and they are loaded. 4-pitch walk issued by Nick Dugan, his first walk of the ball game, and they're loaded for Jack O'Dowd. Brant Panzer.
He's been one of the most consistent out of the bullpen for Stanford this year. Has not thrown this weekend. So Panzer, you could extend if you needed to. Thomas eager on his way out right now. First time in what started as a pretty benign inning. It was 2 outs, nobody on. Porter Brown single, Eric Kennedy single, and then a 4-pitch walk to Flores. Kind of feels like if you're Jack O'Dowd in this at bat, if you sit changeup, you're going to get one at some point. You may get 3 or 4. But that has been Dugan's best. I know his stuff has looked a little bit different the second time around, but the changeup has still been really good. If a left-hander is going to beat him right now on the mound, I think you got to beat him with the changeup. If you're O'Dowd, I think you got to assume you're going to get at least a few.
Do you expect hitters in certain cases like this to do that, to sit change?
I mean, I would, because that's his best, and it's absolutely his best today.
Jack O'Dowd, the junior from Nashville, 2nd year with Texas after starting his career at Vandy. First pitch swinging, and he blasts it to right and runs it all the way to the wall. Brown and Kennedy are in. Pierce gives Flores a windmill, and this game is tied.
Swing by Jack O'Dowd right there when Texas up with 2 outs. I think it was a breakable that was coming back in where Moore was setting up. They were trying to go in. Instead, Dow was hunting something early, and he got it. So Texas starts 2 outs, nobody on. Goes single, walk, and Jack O'Dowd clears them right there, and we're tied.
Boy, he's had some big swings over these last few weeks, all in the postseason. And Jack O'Dowd has tied this game at 3 and chased Nick Dugan. Locked up in the 4th. How about Texas trying to overcome multiple 3-run deficits to win in a super regional? That is rarefied air. And with that big swing from Jack O'Dowd, first pitch hunting, this game is tied in the 4th.
Yeah, pretty impressive right there, especially when it starts 2 outs, nobody on. But it's the Brown at bat. It's so often it is. It's when somebody hangs in there He shoots it to left. Kennedy rolls over one, hits it in the right spot. A patient at bat by Flores, and one great swing by Jack O'Dowd. So all knotted up. Stanford goes back to the bullpen. Brent Panzer probably been their most consistent this year. It's a fastball that'll be upper 80s, maybe around 90. Slider, a curveball, and a changeup, but slider is really the main to righties. Changeup is the main to lefties, and most fastballs are going to be away. Really lives away. Control's been pretty good this year, especially for the Stanford team that has struggled with walks, just 15 and 42 and 2/3.
Panzer pitched twice during the regionals, combined 4 1/3 of shutout ball, including 2 1/3 against Texas A&M on Sunday. 4 straight have reached for Texas in this fourth after the first 2 batters were retired by Nick Dugan, who's done after 3 2/3. And this is Mitchell Daly. Quinn Matthews talked about the good ABs that Daly had against him yesterday. Ball and a strike from Panzer to Daly. How about Jack O'Dowd delivering for the Longhorns here when the offense had been quiet. 2-1. Daly ground out to short his first time. Out of the 9th spot in the Texas lineup. 2-1. Daly rolls it to third and foul. 2-2. You said off the top we might have some points scored in this game.
Yeah, it felt like a little more offensive night. I mean, the weather is going to allow that, but we're going to be in the bullpen early, and we've already seen it on both sides. Texas went to the pen in the second. Now Stanford has here in the fourth.
Winner of this one goes to the Men's College World Series. 2-2. Strike 3 calls. Panzer paints and freezes Mitch Daly, but Jack O'Dowd has tied this. Texas got it cooking with 2 outs.
Jack O'Dowd to the plate, bases loaded, 2 outs. Wasn't wasting any time. The Porter Brown single, the Eric Kennedy single, and then this O'Dowd down the right field line. We're going to do ball game. 3-3 to the bottom of 4 in Palo Alto.
With Kyle Peterson, Mike Monaco, our entire crew behind the scenes as we go to the bottom of the 4th, and a new game indeed. Drew Bowser leads off. 7, 8, and 9 for Stanford after Bowser had that 2-run home run. 4:25 in the second. 3 home runs consecutively in another NCAA tournament for Bowser. As head coach David Esker told us coming into the weekend, if we can get Bowser going a little bit, our lineup is way deeper. Zane Morehouse is 1-1. He uncoils outside. Overhead wide, 2-1. Bouncing ball to third and chopped foul. 2-2.
We talked about it. 3rd and 3 nights for Bowser. First on the fastball. First 2 nights have been on a breaking ball that was hanging. This was a fastball elevated. Hit it to just about the deepest part of the ballpark. 4 home runs on the weekend for Stanford. This kid's got 3 of them.
One of the best home run hitting teams in the country against one of the best pitching staffs in the entire nation. 2-2. Bowser takes high. Again, that's the cut on that. Like, that is a winding 95.
He can't throw it straight if he wants to, and that's a good problem to have.
3-2 offering. Bowser stays alive. David Pierce had told us coming into this weekend. We saw the Zane Morehouse last weekend that we've been waiting on. You said he was in the weekend rotation earlier. 3-2. Outside. Leadoff walk, and it's the 3rd straight inning. Stanford's had the leadoff man aboard. So now to the 8th spot for Saborn Campbell. Singled and scored back in the second before Tanner Witt departed. With the starter for Texas in this game 3 of the Super. Campbell bunts it back toward the mound, and Morehouse throws him out. Sack successful. Bowser to second. 1 away. So some more small ball from Stanford head coach David Esker. And to the 9th spot for Timo Becerra, who had a sack himself in the second. I haven't seen a lot of David Esker so far in this game because that's rare to see him crouched and stationary. He's very often pacing around and on the move.
Got that from Coach Marquis.
Of course, the long-time head coach here, 9.
Good to see he was in the dugout at Arkansas. Rusty Filter's Santa Clara Club. It was cool to see. Had a bucket hat on and everything. That's something I didn't know I'd ever see. He built this place.
41 years as the head coach all the way through 2017. More than 1,600 wins. Morehouse is 1-1. That's not. How about what David Esker told us during the in-game interview last night? If you missed it, he said, hey, what'd you do after blowing a lead in the 9th inning, giving up 5 spot? He said he sent his team a group text, and it was a GIF of a toilet flushing.
It was a GIF of a toilet flushing.
It was a GIF, actually. In fact.
The responses were all over the place, even a few hearts.
And ha-has and exclamations from one of the loosest coaches in America. A lot of times, David Esker. 3-1 the count for Morehouse against Becerra. Morehouse delivers. There's a strike, full count. Some deep counts from the bottom of this Stanford lineup here against Morehouse. Pitch count at 30. We told you the last 3 months, Morehouse hasn't got more than 49. Misses. Becerra with a stare down after a walk. And 2 of the 3 have walked out of this bottom third in the Cardinal lineup.
That must have missed down because it didn't miss in or out. For Becerra, a good patient at bat, just kind of sat and waited. Watch the glove and where it ends up. That was pretty good. The miss, it just missed down, but Becerra made the right decision. Lets it go. 2 base runners in the inning for Stanford, both walks.
Just. Ball 4. Now Eddie Park. Ball 1 to him. Fly out to left, ground out to second the first 2 innings. For Stanford's leadoff man, the junior center fielder from San Jose. Honorable mention, Pac-12 choice this year with a career best OPS, and he has done serious damage in the NCAA tournament these last couple seasons. 1-0. Park takes a strike. Eddie said post-game yesterday just wants us to continue on another week. Stressed how much he loves hanging out with this group. The 1-1. Ground ball to third. Gobbled up. Powell tries to recover in time, and he got him. That's out number 2. Peyton Powell started to jog off toward the dugout. But it's 2 down and second and third as he made the recovery.
That's really good work by Peyton Powell because backside ground ball, it's hit hard. This one comes off the bat moving. 2 hops. Keeps it in front, kind of blocks it like a catcher, but close enough that he can get some momentum on that throw and just get Eddie Park at first base. Fields it cleanly. You probably got a chance to turn a double play and get out of it, but instead right there you just want to make sure you get one, and they did. And Tommy Troy won't get one in this. Look at the automatic 4 fingers that go up and head down to first base.
Second time the superstar Tommy Troy has been intentionally walked in the 3 games of this Super Regional. Well, Carter Graham's been clutch for Stanford in spots like these this season. 3-hole hitter, one of the top RBI men in the entire country. Second in the Pac-12 in RBIs coming into this weekend. First pitch. Throwing so much gas. You start out Carter Graham with that.
A slider in the inside part of the plate.
Morehouse is 0-1. Graham lines it over second into right center field, a base hit. Bowser scores and Stanford leads. Saw this exact swing from Carter Graham earlier in this Super Regional.
And it was a slow walk up after the intentional walk to Tommy Troy. Carter Graham, I think, got the adrenaline going a little bit. Swings to a first pitch breaking ball that gets the cutter away. Points to his bench on the way down to first base. Hit right on the button out to Campbell in right field. Good decision, too, by Steve Rodriguez, the third base coach. They held the base runner up right there. Becerra would have been out by 3 or 4 steps. It was a perfect throw by Campbell on right.
Yeah, he's got a really good arm. Here's Braden Montgomery. A walk and a strikeout. The cleanup man can't touch the gas to start out from Zane Morehouse. There's a fastball that fanned Montgomery back in the third. Went down looking. 0-1. Montgomery fooled on the off speed, and it's 0-2. With Becerra, Troy, and Graham aboard for the Stanford cleanup man. With 2 down, the 0-2. Montgomery lines it toward left. Brown won't get there. Becerra and Troy score, and it's 6-3 Stanford here in the fourth.
Look at where the hits have come for Stanford in this inning. So you got bases loaded for Carter Graham. He takes the cutter and takes it the other way, and then Montgomery with the exact same approach. Not trying to get pull happy. Happy just getting a barrel to it wherever it is. He didn't get all of those. In fact, if he did, Porter Brown probably catches it. But instead it falls in front of him. It's 3 in the inning for Stanford. All 3 have scored with 2 outs.
2-out activity for Texas. And then Stanford responds with 2-out traffic and production of its own. Braden Montgomery comes through, and now Alberto Rios. Ball 1 from Zane Morehouse. And John Lynch loved it.
John Lynch here?
Braden Montgomery came through, yeah. 1-0. Rios fouls it off.
It's forgotten about John Lynch's baseball career. He was 2-sport when he was here as well. He was decent at football.
Not bad. Ball and a strike on Rios. Morehouse delivers. 1-2. Well, you promised the offense would come. We've got 9 combined runs in this game. I feel like we're not maybe even close to done. Rios strikes out. St. Morehouse leaves 2, but Stanford strikes. 6-3 Cardinal to the 5th. A trip to Omaha hangs in the balance. Kevin Rhodes, thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, that was Titanic. Which pew did it go into? Yes, right.
In the offering plate. One hop the offering plate, the church and right. We'll see that every day.
that is the scene at the Pete's. They will be lubricated for that one, no doubt. All right, Texas down 3. We start the 5th. Top of the Longhorn lineup with Jared Thomas. Infield single. It was scored his last time in the 3rd. Struck out looking in the 1st. Ran Panthers 1-1. There's a strike on the outer 3rd. Thomas came through with an RBI triple in the 3rd inning yesterday against Quinn Matthews. He pulled it into the right field corner. You can tell that Quinn Matthews postgame is still frustrated about that, and probably every other damage against him, because he singled out Jared Thomas after the game. He said that leadoff kid turned on a first pitch fastball that was probably off the plate. He said that shocked me.
And today he was talking about the home run that Mitchell Daly hit. What do you remember most out of the home run?
The 156 pitches to choose from.
The fact that the entire place was on their feet at the end. That was the home run.
Or that you sprinted out to the mound for the 9th inning. Panthers 2-2. Fouled back by Thomas. Yeah, what a job Jared Thomas has done. You've talked about the instincts. This is a guy who's been at first base this year for the Golden Spikes Award winner from last year, Ivan Melendez, who of course led the country with 32 home runs before he went 43rd overall to the Diamondbacks. 2-2. Away and a full count. Texas team that's got 42 wins. Swept West Virginia the final weekend of the regular season to share the Big 12 regular season title. Payoff. Thomas strikes out. Couple of Ks for Brant Panzer since coming into the ball game.
This one isn't exactly where Panzer wanted to throw it either. It's 3-2 breaking ball. They're trying to go back door, and it stays elevated, stays right in the middle of the play. Jared Thomas just missed it. This is the spot that sometimes the guy at the plate can do some damage. Panzer probably got away with one right there, but he'll take it. 2nd strikeout since coming into the game.
Brings up the 2-hole hitter, the 3rd baseman Peyton Powell. Ground out to 2nd, and then a strikeout swinging on a changeup his last time in the 3rd. And he goes first pitch swinging in the air to left center. And Eddie Park in the gap for out number 2. Our Wednesday night baseball doubleheader starts with a Subway Series matchup at 7 Eastern, Yankees and Mets at Citi Field. Followed by, on the West Coast, our primetime game between the White Sox and Dodgers, with both games right here on ESPN. You can watch them as well on ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app. Here's Dylan Campbell, 2 outs, bases empty. Fly out to center, line out to left. Chin music this time. Panthers 1-0. There's a strike. You said it. Panzer's been a trusted guy on this staff. Tasked with logging some innings today. And that's part of, obviously, the story of last night with Quinn Matthews. With the CG, keeping arms fresh.
Yeah, you got the guys in the bullpen ready to go. I mean, really, Matthews, I would say for sure, is the only guy down today. Dixon maybe as well, who started game 1 of this. But for the bullpen, you can stretch anybody out right now.
1-2. Panthers 2-2 pitch. Campbell lines it toward right center field, slicing away from Park, and he can't get there. More 2-out activity for the Horns. It's a 2-out double for Dylan Campbell and his first hit of this Super Regional.
All right, Dylan Campbell on the board. If you're Texas, this is exactly what you wanted to see. Guy that came in with a 38-game hit streak. The other thing you like is where it was. It was up to right center field. So Campbell, even though he struggled the first 2 games here, not getting pull happy, uses the other side. Park can't cut it off. It's a 2-out double for Texas. And remember, last inning, when they scored 3, it was 2 outs, nobody on. The hit by Porter Brown that got it started. 2 outs, nobody on. Now Campbell keeps the inning going.
For Garrett Gilmet, who this time, with 2 outs, looking to produce himself. Like Campbell, an 0 for this super coming into this 5th. A couple of ground outs to the left side so far today. And he rolls it in that direction again, trying to break out of an 0 for 10 in this best of 3 series, now into game 3. It's a guy who spent 2 years at USC, 8 home runs combined, more than 300 at bats there, and you see the 11 this season for the Longhorns. 0-1, yanked outside. Call this guy G-Wagon. Kind of built that way. Crushes baseballs as well, like we've talked about throughout this weekend. Back at his home state. 1-1. Gilmet cuts through in 1-2. Campbell aboard with 2 outs. Brad Panzer's 1-2. Gilmet takes.
What a good take. I mean, a count where you think you're probably going to see a breaking ball, but so what the spot that Panzer was trying to throw it. Presented as a strike, let it fall away, and hope you get a swing, but Gilmet took it right out of the hand.
Two pitch. Gilmet pulls it down the line, and he knew he was out in front. Best contact he's made all weekend. Didn't miss it by a ton. Another 2-2. And a full count. Worked by Garrett Gilmet. Porter Brown on deck. Payoff. Gilmet strikes out. Panzer poised in the 5th. Bounces off with a K strut as we hit the halfway point in this winner-take-all game 3. Game 3 of this Super Regional between Texas and Stanford, and Longhorns head coach David Pierce joins us here at the halfway point. Coach, pitching-wise, what's the ideal way the rest of this ball game goes?
Well, we'd like to extend Zane. He's just got to get the ball down, pitch ahead. You know, he's got good stuff. We got a couple other guys in the pen that we can count on. So we're just going to extend him as much as we can and try to stay in the game.
David, you go single walk in the 4th, all with 2 outs, and then Jack O'Dell jumps on the first one. What did you see from your side? Because that spun this one pretty quick.
Yeah, I did. And, you know, when you talk about shutdown innings, you got to try to just, you know, hold them at bay. They're a very good offense. But I thought he got a pitch soft middle, and he did a great job of just hammering it. You know, and the 3 guys in front of him just didn't try to do too much. And that's what we got to do. We just got to piece them together.
David, thanks for the time all weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate you guys.
To the bottom of the 5th we go. Stanford got 3 in the bottom of the 2nd. Texas 3 in the top of the 4th. And Stanford right back with the 3 spot in the home half of the 4th inning against Zane Morehouse. Morehouse against Moore. Malcolm Moore climbs in. 1 for 2 with a single in the 2nd, then a ground out to second base. Pitch count in the mid-40s for Zane Morehouse. The goal, keep it down. We've had 7 of the 9 runs in this game scored with 2 outs. 2-0.
For Morehouse, it was kind of the control that got it started in the last inning. Walked 3, 1 was intentional when he walked Tommy Troy, but all 3 of those guys came around to score.
Carter Graham had the RBI single, then Braden Montgomery a 2-run single of his own. That misses, and it's a 4-pitch walk. Hey, tomorrow we'll have the final 2 parts of the 4-part 30 for 30. The luckiest guy in the world, centered on Bill Walton. 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, right here on ESPN. Parts 1 and 2 from last week. You can watch them on ESPN+. Drew Bowser. First pitch swinging. Two-run home run and a walk. His last time leading off the 4th after he ran it full against Morehouse. 0-2. Three-run cushion for Stanford in the 5th. 0-2. Bowser resists.
Feels like if you're Bowser and the approach, for the most part, Morehouse has had, you can almost eliminate anything in a half. It is away, 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 whether it's the cutter or the breaking ball, but he's really living away from right-handers.
That's away and misses just off the edge to make it 2-2. So can hitters then cheat that way?
You can, yeah. I mean, the only time Morehouse tried to go in is blowing through the backstop. Other than that, it's been consistently away to right-handers.
Bowser strikes out. 3rd K for Zane Morehouse, who dials up 95 for the first out of the 5th.
95 with cut. This is the Morehouse that we saw the other day. Is that glove side fastball, and I don't know if he's trying to cut it or if he just naturally cuts it, but whatever he's doing, keep doing it, because that is real stuff right there. Bottom of the zone, moving away, and you can see, I mean, it's 4 inches away from his bat. I mean, Bowser, if he can put it there, Bowser's going to have a really hard time making contact.
And it's another righty now, and Seymour Campbell rolls the first one towards short. Daly stabs it, goes to second, and gets the lead runner Moore for out number 2. Mitchell Daly had a long way to go.
This is a big-time play. The one that Texas needs right here. Daly was definitely not playing to that side. He was almost pitched up the middle, so not really the full side. Goes up, goes airborne. That may be the only out he was going to get right there. They get the lead runner. That's well done by Mitchell Daly.
You know you're going to get good defense from Mitch Daly. And turns in a fine play up the middle. 2 outs. Campbell at first. Now to the 9th spot for Timo Becerra. Sack, bunt, and a walk so far. Scored a run that last time in the 4th. Most pitches Morehouse has thrown in 3 months. His 56th. Back pick attempt on Campbell doesn't get him. Lucas Gordon, game 1 starter for Texas. Then it was LeBaron Johnson Jr. yesterday. Tanner Witt started this game 3 earlier tonight, if you're just joining us. We said earlier, Lucas Gordon, probably one of those arms that David Pierce was alluding to, of guys who could throw out of the pen. 1-1. Becerra chops it high left side, and Peyton Powell not picked at first. Campbell bolts. Thomas's throw, a good one to get Campbell. Jared Thomas trying to pick it, recovered, and ends the inning for Zane Morehouse.
Good presence of mind right there by Thomas. And not a great decision by Seymour Campbell. That's the place you can't make the last out. Low throw, and even though he can't dig it out, Thomas keeps it close enough, finds it, and then throws a strike across the diamond. 5 in the books. It's 6-3 Stanford.
This week, Friday, we get started in Omaha, the Men's College World Series. 6 of the 8 teams, we know who they'll be, have already secured their tickets coming out of the Super Regionals, which are, of course, the final 16 teams in the country. If you don't know anything about Wake Forest, what is most important to know about the #1 team in the country?
Most complete team in the nation. If you're Wake. I mean, it's the lowest ERA in the country, and they hit 9 home runs in the Super Regional clincher to get there. So it's speed, it's power. They're older, which is a good thing. There's a lot of experience, and it is arm after arm after arm.
Including and headlined by their ace, Rhett Lauder. 1-1 to Porter Brown, and he grounds it towards second. Bowser dives, throws from his knees, got him! Brown had started into a sort of banana turn around first. That might have helped Drew Bowser get the out on a fine play at second.
Yeah, give him credit for just getting rid of it. I mean, Bowser clearly didn't have all the baseball, but lays out and then just makes sure that he gets rid of it as soon as he possibly can. It makes a 2 or 3 hopper over there. They'll take another look at it right now, but for Bowser to the knees as quickly as he can get rid of it, that's what so many infielders start to learn. It doesn't have to be in the air, especially when it's that close. Just get rid of it, get it started that way, and I think this one stands. I think they did just get it. It's a giant play to start the inning if it stays, because you keep the leadoff man on right here in Porter Brown, who could do damage when he gets on first base. Double-digit home runs for Brown. Start to turn?
Yeah,
he did enough. He absolutely did. That's the difference. That is 100% the difference. I mean, if it's a straight line to first base, they've got no chance in Brown. Instead, I think it just got into the glove of Carter Graham.
I think confirmed.
That's one of those, circle it in your scorebook if you're scoring at home, which I've always wondered who does that. But if you are, I would circle that one.
And let us know if you are.
And let us know if you are. Yeah, I'd love to know who that is. But watch just enough of a turn. Right there. He started to go out. He hits on the grass and has to come all the way back in. And then immediately you can see him try to put the Jets back on. Take a look at it, and this will be upheld.
Drew Bowser makes a great play. Confirmed, not stands. And that is a big first down in this 6th inning with Stanford up by 3. And you talk about all the 2-out action that Texas has had. Just trying to get a leadoff man aboard. That is something they have not done now in 6 innings tonight. Here's Aaron Kennedy. A couple of hits and 2 trips. And he takes ball 1 from Brant Panzer. Well, can Kennedy be the guy again to start something for the Horns? Swings through that down in the zone. Boy, we've seen a lot of good changeups this weekend.
And Kennedy's done a lot of damage this weekend, but that's the one pitch that he has not looked comfortable.
Last 2, changeup and fastball from Brant Panzer. The get ahead 1-2 on Kennedy. Panzer fires. It is a great crowd on this Monday night. Just about 7 o'clock local time at Sunken Diamond. locked in, ready to watch Texas and Stanford in Game 3. 1-2 again. Fades outside. We've seen some big crowds all across the country.
Sellouts for 3 straight days here, and then that seems to be the way pretty much everywhere else.
2-2. Kennedy gets a piece of it. Sliding stab over at second, and Kennedy beats it out. Timo Becerra slid to his left. The shortstop in the shift. Kennedy can move, and he's got his 3rd hit of the ball game.
And that's the difference of taking a straight route, too. I think they'd have 1st and 2nd, nobody out right now, maybe even 1st and 3rd. But Kennedy, and you talk, he can get down the line. From that left side, Becerra gloved it. Strong throw across, but Kennedy now 3 singles on the night, continues his hot weekend.
Seven hits for him, as you saw, in this 3-game series. 1 on, 1 out, Jalen Flores swings through the first offering for Panzer on a breaking ball.
I understand that the numbers don't really say this year for Flores, but the move at the plate says this is going to be pretty good. That's why they keep putting him in there.
Highly touted freshman. What in particular about the motions at the plate?
I mean, it's whippy. He's big, too, and he's going to grow into that frame. Now, whether or not he can play in the middle of the infield, we'll see. But it is. You ever seen Yo-Yo Morales' swing?
Yeah.
There's some Yo-Yo Morales in this. It's the long, lanky, right-handed swing, and when it all times up, man, he's going to turn into a really good hitter.
Yo-Yo Morales, the Miami 3rd baseman, is on a top 10 team in the country this year in his junior season, and it's probably going to be a 1st-round pick. He was right around that end of the 1st compensation rounds area, according to Kylie McDaniel. Then all he did was rake in the postseason. Flores flings this to left at Alberto Rios, and 2 outs for Brant Panzer in the 6th. All right, so 2 outs. This is where Texas is comfortable. So Thomas Eager, the pitching coach for Stanford, will come out and chat. How do you handle pitching on the Stanford side of things?
Well, I mean, Drew Dowd could go a ways if you need him to. Dowd, I mean, nobody else pitched yesterday except for Quinn Matthews. So you can bring the left-hander in at Dowd. He can extend it a little bit. I think the question is, when do you use Bruno? And how? Stanford will go back to the bullpen right here. Good job by Brant Panzer. Threw up 0 since he came in. Back to the pen for the Cardinal. They lead it by 3.
Texas took Game 1 with a thrilling 9th-inning comeback. Stanford took Game 2 yesterday behind a gem from Quinn Matthews. And in this winner-take-all Game 3 for a trip to the Men's College World Series, it's Stanford up by 3 in the 6th. Texas with a man on. So you said, when does Ryan Bruno come into this game? Preseason 1st-team All-American closer, according to D1 Baseball. 1st-team Pac-12. 9 saves this season. The answer is right now.
Yeah, we got the answer pretty quick. I think it felt like if Stanford was going to use Bruno today, they needed to make sure that there was somebody behind him. So you probably don't use him at the end just because of the control issues. Swing and miss, not the issue. Hits, generally not the issue. Struck out 54 in 33 innings this year, but he's walked more than 1 an inning, and we saw it the other day. I mean, he essentially walked the bases. Loaded, he walked 2, and then hit Flores to load him, and that ended Bruno's day. But if it is in the zone, Bruno can be absolutely dominant. Expect Texas to be patient, just as they were a few days ago.
Because he threw 26 pitches and Texas only swung once. That was the plan from those Texas bats. David Pierce and Eric Kennedy talked about that postgame. They wanted to be really disciplined against Bruno and force him into the zone. Left on left, and it's ball 1 and no swing from Jack O'Dowd. That didn't miss by much.
That one was there.
O'Dowd, of course, the 3-run double to right his last time in the 4th. 1-0. That misses, and it's 2-0. So 28 pitches. Bruno to Texas One swing from the Longhorns. The 2-0. That's down and away, and it's 3-0. Eric Kennedy said post-game, after that comeback win, we know Ryan Bruno's a heck of a pitcher, but we also know he's wild. And it's a 4-pitch walk to Jacko Dowd. And it's not crazy to ask, how long can you let him go?
Well, I mean, there's activity already down in that Stanford bullpen. I would assume that it's down. You definitely let him, I would think, go one more if you're going to bring him in. I don't know if you go get him right away, but Thomas Eager was out quick. He got squeezed in the first pitch.
Yep.
First pitch was a strike, was called a ball. The other three were not. There's your answer. They're going straight to the bullpen right now.
Wow. So in a game 3 where, and Ryan Bruno's looking back at home plate umpire Kevin Sweeney on his way off, frustrated with that first one. But in a game 3 where pitching staffs can be thin, the Bruno bullets are used up, and just 4 of them. Texas with the tying run at the plate, down by 3 in this 6th. All right, KC, yeah, they're trying to do it for Scott Berry, who is retiring at the end of the season. Southern Miss trying to get to Omaha. All right, this first pitch was called the ball from Ryan Bruno.
Yeah, and this is a strike. Now, after this, they weren't, but this is a strike and potentially can change the entire at bat. Obviously, you saw Malcolm Moore turn around. He was waiting to hear something, and he didn't hear anything. And then Ryan Bruno said that's not up on the way out to home plate umpire Kevin Sweeney, who honestly, the whole night has had a very good zone. It's tight. We've seen 3 tight zones so far this weekend. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. That was a little bit too tight. First pitch was a strike. Now they go back to Dowd, who was great when he came in. 3 scoreless innings for Drew Dowd in game 1 of this Super Regional. Gave up just 1 hit. Walked 1, struck out 2 through 53 pitches. There's a fair amount of swing and miss for Dowd. 81 strikeouts this year in 61 innings.
Junior from just up the road in Belmont, California. Honorable mention, Pac-12 choice. 4th on this team this year in innings pitched. And he comes on with 2 aboard for Texas, down by 3 in this 6th. And 2 out. 9th spot in the Horns lineup, the shortstop Mitch Daly, who was grounded out to short and struck out looking. That last time it was against Grant Panzer. Daly a home run yesterday. Downs first. Breaking ball for a strike. Dowd has been lethal against lefties. Righties, meanwhile, OPS right around 800. Tick above average. 0-1. That's a ball and a strike. No swing on appeal. Kennedy at second. Down at first with a healthy lead. 1-1. Daly takes 2-1. Texas has been patient against the Stanford pen.
That's carried over. Patient against Bruno, and it was a 4-pitch walk and a quick outing. Now patient again since Drew Dowd has come in.
2-1. That's inside. David Pierce told us coming into this Super, we don't meet a lot as a team like at practice, but they did. The day before this Super started, he said he wanted to give some keys. You asked him what were they, and he said offensively to go to the plate and be disciplined and view every pitch like it's a 3-1 count. It's got to be perfect. They've done that against the Cardinal relievers. And Daly walks to load him up as the lineup turns over to Jared Thomas. 9 straight takes from Texas.
I mean, that's the book on Stanford from a pitching standpoint. Coming into this game, it was 303 walks and 553 innings. That's over 5 per 9. So we think patience is the right approach with that 3-1 mentality. If you get something early and go after, you couldn't be patient last night because Matthews didn't throw any balls. I mean, so at that, it has to make you aggressive. But if patience gets a lot out of the zone, then you work yourself back into counts you want to hit it anyway.
Leadoff man Jared Thomas, freshman first baseman with him loaded. First pitch buckles for strike 1. Again, it's a sub 500 OPS for batters that are lefties against down. He's been that good in these left-on-lefts. 0-1 to Thomas. Knocks it off the end of the bend. It's 0-2.
Those 2 pitches in particular, lefties have struggled with. Against lefties, with a curveball, the OPS below 500. Against the slider, the OPS below 150. You're not going to see a fastball here.
And Sunken Diamond rises with the bases loaded and 2 outs. Downs 0-2. Struck him out.
Curveball to start, then 2 sliders to follow. And for Drew Dowd, who comes in, walks the leadoff man. Found it on this one. 0-2 slider down and away. The freshman Jared Thomas can't hold up. The horns leave him loaded. Still trailing by 3.
You're watching the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Boy, Texas threatened, loaded him. But Drew Dowd buckles down, stuck with the breaking ball. They are fearing the tree. Into this bottom of the 6th. Stanford ahead by 3. Top of the lineup, beginning with Eddie Park against Zane Morehouse. In the upper 50s with his pitch count. Most in more than 3 months. That's a strike. 1-1 on Park. 0 for 3. Couple ground outs his last 2 times and a fly out to left. Stanford staring down elimination like Texas, of course, in this game 3. But for Stanford, boy, have they made a habit of this the last few years.
Been decent elimination games here at Omaha, or here at home. Gotten them to Omaha a few times.
2-2 on Park.
Is it 13 in a row now that Stanford has won elimination games here?
That's Sunken Diamond. And just in the last 2 years in regionals and supers, 9 straight. Full counts. Quinn Matthews said last night, it'd probably be better for the rest of the country if it were a 1-loss tournament. It's not, to be clear.
No, it is not. And it isn't when you get to Omaha either.
3-2. Park lines it. Left field base hit. He's just a professional hitter. It's a single in the 6th.
Works it to a 3-2 count and it just kind of breaks your heart. I mean, that's the Eddie Park approach. Work, get it to a count as deep as he possibly can, and then plenty comfortable with this. Just serve it out to left center field. Park standing on first base with nobody out for Stanford. That's when their offense gets going.
Brings up Tommy Troy in the 2 spot, the third baseman. Single and an intentional walk. First pitch swinging. Pops this one up on the infield, left side of second, and Mitch Daly for the first out.
Combination of Morehouse, it's slider and cutter. Both have kind of similar movement, but there's a 10-mile-an-hour difference. That slider almost acts as a changeup. In that case, going away from Tommy Troy. Velocity difference got him right there, and then the movement took it off the barrel.
He is a fun guy to watch when he's got it all humming, like he has these last few weekends. Got roughed up in the 4th for 3 runs. Came back in the 5th and now in the 6th as well. Carter grabbed the batter out of the 3 spot. First pitch swinging to 3rd. Powell to 2nd. O'Dowd turns 2. 5-4-3 for Zane Morehouse, and much needed for the Horns.
5-4-3 to get it going. You said it, much needed for the Horns. Leadoff man on. Eddie Parker raced on this one. It's a quick 1-2-3 6th for Texas.
Seventh inning at Stanford. 6-3, the Cardinal, the number 8 overall seed in the country, leading Texas. We start the 7th, and this is the situation for David Esker and his bunch when leading after 6 innings this season, including this Super Regional.
29-1 before they, 28-1 before they got into that same spot. Texas got him in the 1st, down 3 in the 9th. Now Drew Dowd on to try to keep it going for Stanford on the mound.
Peyton Powell out of the 2 spot. Big bats coming for Texas. And high and tight, Powell went around on a heater at 92. You talked about those left-on-left breaking balls from Drew Dowd, and then you start with that up and in on Powell. Then that one in.
Fastball in is just going to create more room out away, because if you got to respect Out's fastball, and it's around 90, it could be a tick more, but makes it all the tougher to stay on the breaking ball down and away.
His 0-2 fouled away, and it's a super experienced arm in Drew Dowd, tasked with going who knows how long for Stanford. Yeah.
I think if you're Stanford, you look at it and say we're just fine with him finishing.
This will make a dozen pitches for Dowd. Powell tries the layoff. Didn't offer. 1-2 on Peyton Powell. Ground out, strikeout, fly out to center the first 3 times for Powell. Powell rolls it left side. Troy with a long way to go, and Powell is on. For the first time in this ballgame, the leadoff man is aboard for Texas, and it's to start the 7th.
And it comes right in the middle of this lineup, too. Powell didn't get a whole lot of this. He just didn't hit it the exact right spot. Tommy Troy gloves it. Maybe he's got a chance, but once it gets past him, there's no way that Becerra can do anything with. Becerra, the shortstop, pinched up the middle. Troy has to go deep to try to get it. Leadoff man on, and out of the middle of this Texas lineup coming up.
This is Dylan Campbell. Doubled his last time, one of 2 extra base hits for the Horns in this one. And his first hit of this Super. And he squares to bunt, pokes it toward first, spinning toward the line, and down smartly lets it go. Campbell would have been on.
Yeah, that's a good decision. You're not throwing him out right there. And that caught everybody off guard. Craig Wade, radio voice of the Longhorns behind. He got pretty fired up on that one, too. I don't think anybody thought that Campbell was bunting on that one.
That's the beauty of this press box here at Sunken Diamond. You got like 3 different broadcasts going on with mere seats here
a little reach of everything. It's beautiful
of each other. Craig, one of the best. That was surprising from Dylan Campbell. Tommy Troy's back at 3rd. Not expecting it again. Graham holds Powell. Down 0-1. And Campbell takes down. Can Dylan Campbell deliver in a huge spot with his team facing elimination and down by 3 in Game 3 of this Super? This guy is so talented. When Texas was here practicing the other day, We heard a catcher's mitt popping behind us in the bullpen. Dylan Campbell was throwing a bullpen. He is not a two-way player. We asked him about it. He said, well, it was very unserious. I threw some changeups, some sinkers, some sliders, some curveballs.
We heard a few that had a little fuzz on them, it sounded like.
He said, I feel like I throw more bullpens than some of our pitchers. He's just that kind of naturally talented athlete. He's had a whale of a season. Staring down a 1-2. Campbell takes in.
If he just stands there right now, he gets it. Remember, the cleat, you don't have to move out of the way. You just can't move in. So that one, if Campbell just stands, it gets him in the front leg, and Texas has got 2 on.
And this meat of the lineup for the Longhorns, down by 3. With nobody out in the 7th. Down tosses over toward Graham. Campbell's been really good against lefties and righties this year. Actually a little bit better against right-handed pitching. Facing the southpaw down is 2-2. Campbell strikes out. One away in the 7th.
Goes back to the curveball. That's one that he is so comfortable with, and it's tough to lay off. And watch where this starts. As a hitter, it's starting about letter high, and then by the time it gets to home plate, Malcolm Moore's got to block it up. One of the best hitters in this Texas lineup goes down swinging right there in a big spot.
And now can Garrett Gilmet come through? 0 for 3, 2 ground outs to the left side and a strikeout. Part of an 0 for 11 this series. Ball 1 from down. Gilmet had a long foul ball his last time down the left field line. At home run distance. 1-0. That's up high. 2-0 on a heater. Three balls and no strikes. This time you think about the shadows a little bit as well, just looking out at the diamond.
Yeah, they're creeping in, and it starts coming out of a shadow, then into the sun for just a minute, then back into the shadows. The sun starts to go down here.
3-0 pitch. Gilmet takes high. Then Texas again will bring the tying run to the plate. And it's one of the bats they absolutely want up in this spot, Porter Brown.
You know, it feels like it's the part of this lineup that has been the most consistent this weekend. It's Brown and Kennedy. 5 and 6 spot they put together at bat after at bat that are competitive, come up in big spots. Brown had the big shot in the first. Kennedy has 3 hits today. Brown's the one that got it started today with a 2-out single.
Only 1 hit with runners in scoring position for Texas. Porter Brown has grounded out twice, sandwich around a backside single in the 4th. TCU transfer. Spent 4 years with the Horned Frogs. Wanted more of an opportunity to be an everyday outfielder. Transferred to join the Horns. Eric Kennedy said recently, I don't know where we'd be without Porter Brown. This guy was a unanimous first-team all-conference choice. He's got 2 on with 1 out in the 7th. Left on left against Dowd, who's first. Is low for ball 1. Brown has been split-proof this season. OPS against lefties, 940. OPS against righties, 999. Hasn't minded these left-on-lefts. The 1-0. Brown takes again. 6 in a row out of the zone from Dowd.
And here's the patience. I mean, Texas is going to force you back into the zone. They have been so good about not chasing. Now they work it to a 2-0 count. It just feels like, I mean, this is the best chance that Texas is going to have to score runs. 2 on, and these guys coming up.
Brown got a 2-0 fastball. Texas has left a runner in all but one inning. They went down 1, 2, 3 in the first. They left one runner in each of the next 4 innings through the 5th. Left him loaded in the 6th, then 2 on here in the 7th. 2-1 pitch. Brown takes a strike. A steady diet of breaking balls from Drew Dowd in these left-on-lefts. Powell at second, Gilmet at first. 2-2. Hits Porter Brown. And right away, Drew Dowd motions that he intentionally made a movement, and that's the call from Kevin Sweeney. So it's a strikeout, and there's 2 gone. David Pierce comes down to argue the case of Porter Brown. The letter of the law, if you're judged to intentionally make a movement to be hit by a pitch, it's a strike, and it was a 2-strike count.
Yeah, we haven't seen this very much. You don't have to move. You can't move into it. Watch the front arm, because that's the key. That's the right call. I mean, watch that right arm. It goes up, it moves into it, and I actually think it's pretty obvious. It's not going to be a popular call in Austin, but the rule is very specific. Essentially, you cannot initiate contact as a hitter. That clearly was. He didn't really have to either. I mean, I think he could have just stood there and taken it. But the right arm moved into it, and that is the right call.
And there was an 8-letter word, if you major in lip reading, that David Pierce said, and then he said twice, I don't believe that.
Yeah, watch the right arm. I mean, that is very clearly moving into it.
And you said it exactly right. It's not going to be popular with Texas fans, but the way the rule is written, that is unquestionably the only call you can come to.
Absolutely. It's interpreted right. And with 2 strikes, obviously goes as a strike and ends up as a strikeout there. This is an argument if you're David Pierce. I mean, you're not going to win. It's not like you're going to change his mind, but potentially you reminding him, setting it up to where it's seen a little bit differently as this game goes on. Kevin Sweeney's a home plate umpire, and Kevin Sweeney just made the right call. Intentionally moving to get hit is automatically a strike. If you freeze, you're okay. Cannot be argued. That's interesting. You can review it, but if you go review it, it's going to be a quick review anyway. I understand not being happy with it. They are going to review it, but I would be floored if this is overturned.
I would be too. Player's perspective. You talked earlier about Dylan Campbell. His instinct was to get out of the way.
Yeah.
And for Porter Brown, the instincts that he probably wishes he had was just stand still.
Well, listen, I mean, for years in the college game, that happened a lot. And it was, the rule was changed and put in to call it a strike. So we couldn't have games like we did 15 years ago where you had guys that were leaning into everything they possibly could. But I know David Pierce isn't happy about it. I have a feeling when he goes back and sees it, he'll understand the call a little bit more. Right arm extends. With 2 strikes, that goes to strike 3.
So a big swing with Texas and one of its best hitters at the plate. And instead of just hit by a pitch, bases loaded, 1 out for Eric Kennedy. Now there's 2 outs, 2 still on for Kennedy. 3 for 3 in this game. First pitch, strike 1 from Drew Dowd. Kennedy's OPS against lefties right around 800. It's about 1060 against righties. 3 singles in this game for the 5th-year senior, who has done a little bit of everything for Texas in this super regional, trying to extend his collegiate career. A guy who has been through a ton and seen a whole lot in his time at Austin. A family affair for him with the Horns. Down 0-1. Down and blocked by Malcolm Moore.
You get a guy that throws this many curveballs too, you really got to trust the guy behind home plate. It's putting a lot of trust in Malcolm Moore because so many of the best curveballs are going to end up in the dirt.
True freshman behind the plate. 1-1. Kennedy takes strike 2. Highest leverage spot yet in this game 3. 1-2. Down and Moore blocks another breaking ball.
It's one thing to block it. It's another thing to block it directly in front of it because from a base runner standpoint, you can't go anywhere. You keep it that close, I got to stay put.
Two on the way. Pulled foul by Kennedy. Howell led off this inning with an infield single. Campbell struck out. Gilmet walked. Porter Brown struck out on the near hit by pitch. Now 2-2 on Kennedy. Down deals. Kennedy strikes out.
Often unseen and unexpected. In the midst of an uncertain and evolving world, the need for Marines to defeat these shifting threats is critical because the need to ensure stability for our nation has never been greater. When there are battles to win for America's future, there is one constant: Marines.
I'm your overly competitive brother. Check. Psych. And I'm gonna steal this game from you, just like I stole Kelly Carter in high school, huh? You got no way. Dude, that's a foul! And now you're ready to settle a score. Game over. And if you don't have the right home insurance coverage, well, you can end up paying for all this yourself. Forget Allstate and be better protected from mayhem. Yeah, like me. Thanks, bro. Take a lap, rookie. Real mature.
One app with a slash so mean, got big plays from your phone to the big screen. ESPN Plus, it's in the app. Everything you want right here, no cap.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals are presented by Capital One. What's in your wallets? With Kyle Peterson, Mike Monaco, our entire crew with you. This game produced by Scott Matthews and directed by Billy Proctor, and this place came to life as we hit the stretch in this winner-take-all Game 3 to punch a ticket to the Men's College World Series that begins Friday with 8 teams in Omaha, Nebraska, and 6 spots already secured. Texas has left 5 the last 2 innings. 4, 5, and 6 in the Stanford lineup, starting with Braden Montgomery against Zane Morehouse at 66 pitches.
It's really just the 1 inning. Walk 3 back in the 4th inning. A couple of 2-out singles. The difference since, really aside from that, Morehouse has kept it right there. Now Braden Montgomery's on there with a single to start the 7th.
Second single and as many trips for Montgomery, and the 3rd time he's been aboard in what's been a very good weekend at the plate for the cleanup man for Stanford. Stanford searches for insurance. Found some last night. It had been a tight ball game similar to this. Quinn Matthews got a few more runs of insurance in that 9th inning. Came back out with a 5-run lead to finish off Game 2. Alberto Rios, the batter, 0 for 3. And with a runner on the move, Rios fouls it off.
Montgomery just 5 of 8 in stolen bases right there, and he was off and moving on the pitch.
Feels like they've done that a couple times with the Montgomery-Rios combo.
Yeah, and I think both times it's been fouled off. And there was action, and I don't know if it's a hit and run or Rios was just swinging right there, but he's fouled it off each of the last 2 times they had it on.
Toss to first, and this one gets away from Thomas, who recovers. Montgomery holds.
Montgomery got up, and I think initially he was going to try to go to first base. Jared Thomas and he were trying to go in opposite directions, and it just kind of seemed like 2 guys trying to make a baseball play right here. Gets away from Thomas. Ball down in the dirt. He's trying to go get it. There's nothing there.
Not the same.
No.
Despite the efforts of first base coach Andre Mercurio. 0-1 to Rios. Swings through. Nothing in 2. Slider there. You said it earlier. Right on right. Everything just runs away from you against Morehouse.
This next pitch, the 70th for Morehouse, the most that he has thrown out of the bullpen by a pretty wide margin this year.
Rios bounces it right side with O'Dowd up the middle. Montgomery to second. First 2 on for Stanford. Nobody out in the 7th.
For Rios, kind of gets in defensive mode right there. Gets 2 strikes, shortens up, and watch some movement of O'Dowd right before this pitch too. I mean, he's set right up the middle, and then there's some movement over towards second base, and then ultimately the ball from Rios. And I'm not sure if he gets over there anyway, but if it was a fake steal, it was enough just to get him moving towards second base. If he's set, maybe you've got a chance. Sometimes that fake steal, if you can get movement on the middle infield, it creates more opportunities like it did right there for Rios.
Now Malcolm Moore. I think we've seen Stanford bluff more with that fake steal than maybe any team in the country I've seen this year.
And that's the intent of it. I mean, the intent is to try to speed everybody on the field up with a fake steal. And if you get that type of movement, I mean, you got to have a little bit of baseball luck too, which they did right there with the backside ground ball from Rios, but it made a difference.
Moore's been on twice. Ball and a strike on the talented freshman catcher. Single to the pull side in the 2nd, leading off that inning. Bowser homered right behind him. And then Moore walked leading off the 5th his last time. One. That's down and away on a slider. 2-1 from Zane Morehouse. This is the 3rd most pitches Zane Morehouse has thrown this season. The top 2 were all within his first 3 outings of the year. Moore fouls it back 2-2. His season debut, opening weekend in the starting rotation against Missouri, went 82 pitches. 2 starts later against Cal State Fullerton, a season-high 90 pitches. And now this today in relief. 3 months later in a must-win. 2-2 to Moore. On the ground to first. Thomas goes to second. And Daly throws back, but not in time. Thomas had to wait on it a tick. They only get the force out of Rios, and so they're at the quarters with 1 out for a guy in Drew Bowser, who's been our Capital One rewarding performance with a homer in 3 straight.
Off the breakable on game 1, off the breakable on game 2, and that got things started for Stanford today. Malcolm Moore led the 2nd off with a single. Drew Bowser hit it. He did the trees in left center. 3 in the 2nd, 3 in the 4th for Stanford today. Now Bowser comes up trying to add to it.
The home run was off Texas starter Tanner Witt. And the first 3 reach against him in the 2nd, and then departed for Morehouse. Walking a strikeout for Bowser against Morehouse since. And ball 1 on the slider to start out. Montgomery at 3rd, Moore at 1st. 1-0 pitch. Bowser swings through the fastball, cutting.
This was the approach last time against Bowser, and I think you have to continue that approach if you're on the mound. He hasn't shown the ability to cover the outside part of the plate against Morehouse. And everything that Morehouse is throwing to him is moving further and further away.
That's a strike 1 and 2.
The front side for Bowser just opens up enough. And you can see it gives you even more. It's just that much tougher to stay on anything out of way.
1-2 pitch. Outside, runner goes. A pump from Gilmet. Now he throws through. And Moore props a run down and gets tagged out. Out number 2 and perfectly executed by the Longhorns.
Yeah, this is put a star on it for Garrett Gilmet right here. Because ultimately, Malcolm Moore isn't stealing because he thinks he's going to steal the base. He's stealing because he's trying to draw a throw. And if you do, you want to stay in the rundown as long as possible. Interesting that they're doing it with Moore, not exactly the fastest guy. You have good speed standing on third base. But for Gilmet, he waited, he forced the base runner at third base to stop moving towards home plate. So watch Gilmet peek, make sure that base runner at third isn't going anywhere, then get it out of your hand. Run him all the way back. It shortens the throw if you need it.
And then Bowser strikes out. So Garrett Gilmet steps up, and then Zane Morehouse finishes the job to keep this a 3-run game through 7 to the 8th. Texas bats after this. This weekend here at Stanford. All right, Drew down, got 4 outs. They were all Ks.
They were all big outs. He pitched with traffic the entire time. I mean, ultimately, it wasn't all his traffic, but left him loaded in the 6th, left 2 on in the 7th, and now leads in this one with 2 on, nobody out. Gives way to Matt Scott. And we saw Matt Scott a few days ago. He came in after Ryan Bruno, win an inning, gave up 1 hit, 2 runs, both were unearned. Walked 2, struck out 1. For Scott, kind of been split this year between starts and relief appearances. Big freshman right-hander's got a fastball that can get well into the low 90s, sometimes into the mid-90s. Slider is his best against right-handers. Changeup is his best against left-handers.
And he enters after Jalen Flores walked. He ran it full to lead off this inning, got aboard. Checo Dowd, the double again for Texas. Threatening again here in this winner-take-all Game 3. Trip to Omaha on the line. This is Mitchell Daly. Walked his last time. First pitch. Daly takes ball 1 with a fastball from Scott. Scott's been really tough on righties. Out of 600 OPS for right-hand hitters against him. 1-0. Breaking ball for a strike. To Daly. He takes down and away, 2-1.
He's got 36 walks in 65 2/3, so you know that patient approach from Texas are going to try to do the exact same thing here.
Daly fouls it off. David Pierce talked about Mitch Daly before the postseason. He said Daly hasn't had his best year. We all know that. I'm really proud of him right now because he regained that starting shortstop job after losing it for a few weeks in May, and his mind is right at this time of the year. Scott's 2-2 to him. Daly in the air, right field. Campbell creeps in, loads up, makes the catch as Flores tags and scores, and Campbell's throw to third keeps O'Dowd at second. And it's a 6-4 ball game with 1 out now here in the 8th.
Another good at-bat by Daly. Deep enough out into right field. That run's going to score easily, and that's a heads-up throw by Seymour Campbell. There's no reason to try to throw that ball home. You're not going to throw him out. Get it over to third. Try to keep the base runner standing at second.
So the lineup turns over. To the top for the freshman first baseman Jared Thomas. It's 1 for 4 in this game. Infield single to the pull side in the 3rd. 3 strikeouts otherwise. But he's hammered right-handers this year. And Scott's first pitch. Down and in to Thomas. Thomas was the top-ranked first base recruit in the state of Texas. And since May, he's raked. Been their leadoff man since the 1-0. Thomas chops it right side, and Graham cuts it off for out number 2. Going down to third. Texas is just yearning for the big hit these last 3 innings.
I mean, the awards right now, now you're in the heart of this lineup. Now you start getting into the guys that have done a lot of damage. Peyton Powell in the 2 slot with Dylan Campbell standing and waiting on deck.
Powell's 3 for 12 in this super regional. All 3 of them are singles. He was 1 for his last 19 coming here. Texas fans probably feel like he is due for that big knock. Scott to Powell. First pitch swinging, and he plugs the gap to make it a 1-run game. There it is for Peyton Powell, the big hit he's been waiting for.
That is a big-time 2-out hit right there for the Longhorns. Peyton Powell on that spot. It looked like he got a first pitch changeup. Scott trying to sneak one by him. Now that was a breakable. It was coming back into the barrel. Powell read it, drove it out to right center. O'Dowd scores easily, and with swinging the kid that was not a starter at the beginning of the year, worked his way to the starting lineup and then just has not come out. That's one of his biggest swings of the year, and it gets Texas within a run.
And brings up Dylan Campbell out of the 3 spot after the 7th 2-out hit of the night for Texas. Campbell takes strike 1 on a Matt Scott fastball at 94. Campbell had the double to right center back in the 5th. Struck out his last time on a breaking ball. Scott's 0-1. It's a strike with another fastball. These last few innings have just been caked in tension. Tying run at second for Texas in the 8th with 2 outs. 0-2. Campbell takes.
Texas has had some really good takes today. He breakables it right on the edge. That was an 88-mile-an-hour slider right there, and I think it missed down, but it didn't miss down by much. That is Campbell following it all the way back into the glove.
1-2. Campbell takes again. This one definitively down. 2-2.
So 2 fastballs to get ahead 0-2, and 2 sliders to see if they could get him to chase. And for Matt Scott, we've heard the runners have been an issue. 3 in game 1, all scored. Tonight 2, both have scored.
Man at second, his 2-2. Campbell stays alive. Goes back to another slider. And 90. These Texas hitters have been disciplined, and they have battled. And their best bet has a chance here with a man at second to come through. The freshman Scott deals, misses, full count. Wow.
The Kevin Sweeney zone has been tight all night, and if this one misses, it must have missed just a little bit down, because it definitely looked like it caught plenty to play. 2 really close takes in this at bat for Campbell. He's now worked it back to 3-2.
Payoff pitch. Campbell fights off another slider. cheating is optional. Right now, it's Sunken Diamond. An 8-pitch war. Matt Scott against Dylan Campbell. 3-2 again. Ground ball center field, base hit. Power out third. This game is tied. Wow.
He wasn't going to quite stay quiet the entire weekend. There's no way. Campbell's too good of a player. Double back into fifth. Took it the other way. Now this time, watch how long the barrel stays in the zone. It's a breaker ball down and away. That top half goes down to get it. He extends that top hand to make sure he can get the barrel all the way to it. That is professional hitting right there for Dylan Campbell. And Texas, who trailed by 3 coming into this inning, have now tied it with 3 of their own.
Dylan Campbell was fired up, and you saw Matt Scott was fiery because he was still not happy with what he thought was strike 3. Now Garrett Gilmette takes strike 1. 6-6 in the 8th. Gilmette 0 for 3. Walked in the 7th. Hitless in this super. Campbell goes. Gilmette swings through it. And Campbell's in scoring position without a throw. Surprising?
Yeah, I mean, they basically just gave him second base right there. This is Scott afterwards. And I mean, listen, they were borderline. I mean, the 2 that he's angry about could have definitely gone either way. And then ultimately it was just a really good swing that got him.
Just misses there. That is off the edge at 96 to Gilmette. We got about 4,000 additional umpires over these last few pitches. The tension of playoff baseball. Campbell at second, 2 outs. Scott's 1-2. Gilmette takes down 2-2. Some angst in the Cardinal dugout. Gilmette in the cleanup spot. Waits on a 2-2. Here it is. Full count. Porter Brown would be next. One of the best bats for the Horns. Three-two pitch. Gilmette takes strike 3 calls. Matt Scott buckles down after Texas ties it. Horns came back in game 1. They've done it again. Here in game 3, we are locked to the bottom of the 8th after this. Wednesday Night Baseball, it's a doubleheader that starts with the Subway Series at 7 Eastern between the Yankees and Mets. And then it's White Sox, Dodgers, both games right here on ESPN. ESPN Deportes and the ESPN app. If you were just watching basketball, welcome to the beautiful world of college baseball. You picked a perfect time to hop in. It's game 3 of a best of 3, a winner-take-all between Texas and Stanford for a trip to the Men's College World Series. And Texas, again, has come back late in the ballgame. They just put up 3 in the top of the 8th to tie Stanford at 6. Mike Monaco, Kyle Peterson, our whole crew with you. Saborn Campbell the batter. And it's 2-0 from Zane Morehouse, who continues to throw for the Horns in relief in this game.
First 4 outings of the year for Zane Morehouse were starts. Since then, everything has come out of the bullpen. Most pitches he's thrown this year, 90, and that was 3 months ago. He's now getting closer.
He has struck out 4. He's been the closer for Texas recently, and the nickname is Nightmare. His 3-0 to Campbell is a 4-pitch walk to the 8-hitter in the Stanford lineup, and this crowd activates. Well, look who's up in the pen for Texas. It's the Big 12 pitcher of the year and their #1 starter, Lucas Gordon, who was on the bump in Game 1 2 days ago.
For 110 pitches 2 days ago. And if you get Gordon up, you're putting him in a game. Because he's not used to getting up and sitting back down. He's been a starter his entire season, and didn't take David Pierce long. Immediately points down to that bullpen. And the Texas ace will make his way in a relief role today.
Wow. He's got traffic on the base paths. Leadoff man on. 6-6. Come on back to Stanford. 6+ innings of relief from Zane Morehouse, who exits here after issuing a 4-pitch leadoff walk to Sabord Campbell. 8-spot, 8th inning. And now look who it is. Lucas Gordon comes on. He's been a starter the last 2 years. Pitched in relief a couple years ago as a freshman.
Yeah, I think if you told David Pierce at the beginning of the day, you're going to go with Morehouse Gordon in the 8th inning, he'd say, we got a chance. Because that was ideally what they wanted to do. Now, Gordon, obviously very short rest. 110 pitches just a few days ago for the left-hander. But he's been, from start to finish, he's been the most consistent for Texas really the last 2 years.
After his Game 1 start a couple of days ago, David Pierce said Lucas wasn't his sharpest. He had those early walks. But he continued to battle. He's confident. He's mature. David Pierce told us coming into this weekend he's our rock. And here he is to face the 9-man Timo Becerra.
May have to field a bunt right now. Becerra has already put one down, and if you're going to do it, I like the push here because the left-hander falling off the other side of the rubber.
Becerra squares and does try to push it up along first, and it hit him out of the box. So Becerra's out number 1. And come on back to first, Sabord Campbell.
Well, Becerra's acting like it didn't hit him. He's thinking it's foul. He was maybe trying to sell it right there, but that was immediate. Gilmet saw it, started pointing at it. Kevin Sweeney, the home plate umpire, was on it right away. Here's the bunt. Again, if it hits you in the box, you're okay. If it hits you, well, yeah, and it clearly hit him. If it hits you there, you're out. Bunt was plenty good enough. Wow. I mean, Bunt was in the exact spot you would want it. Maybe had a chance to beat it out, but the minute it clipped him, everything goes dead. Campbell goes back to first base.
And Lucas Gordon gets an out. And now goes left on left against Eddie Park, Stanford leadoff man, who's been aboard a bunch in this 3-game series, including a backside single his last time in the 6th inning. Only time he's been on in this game. 2 spots left in the College World Series. One of them will be one of these 2 teams. And strike 1 from Gordon to start out with soft stuff. Ball up. Crowd's been chanting the name these last few days of Eddie Park. Fan favorite leadoff man. Eddie said he remembers him doing it last year in the postseason as well. He's appreciative of it, and he hears it for maybe the last time in his Stanford career. 1-1. Bouncing ball, right side, long way to go, and O'Dowd can't get there. Campbell, big turn! No, he's safe! Daly wants a challenge, and David Pierce is already motioning for it. Big turn around second from Sabord Campbell. Did he avoid a tag?
Sabord Campbell's made a few base running moves today that have not been good from a Stanford standpoint. Got thrown out at third base earlier to end an inning, and then this time, this is just way too big of a turn, especially when you don't know the arm that's in right field. Campbell has a cannon. It's whether or not that tag got down. The ball beats him. There's no doubt about it. The ball beats him. He kind of spins his wheels right there. If he whiffed the first time, he got him on the backside. It's just whether or not his right hand got back in. The first swipe tag, if he got any piece of him, Campbell's out.
Yep.
But then he went back and tried to tag him again. And usually when that happens, it's because you didn't get him the first time.
Mitchell Daly, savvy 3-year starting shortstop. Did he get that initial swipe? of that left glove hand on Saborn Campbell.
All right, so ball is clearly there. Daly gloves it. It's whether or not he gets him there. Because by the time he gets him on the backside, that right hand is already back to the bag. Again, a lot of times the best indication if you miss on a swipe tag is when you go back and try to do it again. And he did right there. Got him on the backside. I think he's safe. I don't think he got him the first time. You don't really see a jersey move. It's clearly not a lot of contact if there was any.
And on this one,
and credit Campbell, even after that big turn, sliding as far outside as he could. He's just trying to get the outside edge of second base to get back in. It made it that much tougher to make the tag. I mean, this is the part in question. The only reason that I don't think he got him is because he went back and tried to tag him again. And usually that's an indication that you don't think you got him the first time. He's that right hand back. All right, he goes back again.
Is a tag definitively on right there? And if so,
because the hand definitely is not back yet. But is there contact? Run it back. Just give it to us in slow motion if you can, guys, instead of freezing, because we can't just dare.
So maybe we do want that
back
freeze.
in time.
Yeah. Let's see. Safe at second. Wow, that is about as close as it gets.
Agreed. I mean, again, if there's contact on the swipe, he's out. There's no doubt about it. It's just when exactly did he make contact with his butt going back in? It's there now. It's about as close as you could have it one way or another. Initially called safe, so it took something that was overwhelming to overturn it. Replay said no.
Wow. 2 on, 1 out, Tommy Troy. Ball 1 to the Stanford Slugger. Projected to be the 16th overall pick in the mock draft of our ESPN MLB insider, Kylie McDaniel. Singled in the first, intentionally walked in the fourth. Second time Texas has done that. Sliced foul, 1-1 on Troy. This game has pretty much had everything. And so has this super. Texas had a 5-run ninth to come back in game 1. Quinn Matthews, a 156-pitch CG yesterday in game 2. And now Troy to right, and Dylan Campbell roams in toward the line for out number 2. Campbell, his throw all the way through. Got him! Dylan Campbell! No, you didn't! Wow!
And you just saw it, too. It is a cannon out in right field. Greg Swindell texted me during the game. Said Campbell's been up to 94 in some of those bullpens this year. That might have been more. Out in right field, momentum's taking him away. Still enough, not just to get on it, but dead on the bag. Fly ball, throw him out at third. This one's decent, folks. We're tied to the 9th.
Dylan Campbell went full-on Superman last weekend at Coral Gables. It was on SportsCenter, he told us, before the game was even over. He said he had never made a catch like this. He's never made a throw as big as this one.
I mean, this is as good as you can do it. And it's about as tough as you can do it in right field when you're trying to throw the ball to third base. It's a one-hop seed. Peyton Powell puts the tag down, but it's got to be dead on line because Campbell tagging right there. If it's not dead on line, he is out, tagged down just in time, and you can see the reaction of Steve Rodriguez. Honestly, I think in disbelief. I mean, that's where he is when he catches. And he's moving away from third base. He'd be a regular on SportsCenter Top 10. He's going to find himself on there again today for something else.
Wow. We go to the 9th after outfield assist number 8 for number 8. 6-6 and a trip to Omaha on the line. Porter Brown out of the 5 spot. Had the controversial strikeout his last time up. What was the right call? He intentionally finally made a movement to be hit by a pitch. And now he's down 0-2 against Joey Dixon. Starting pitcher in game 1 for Stanford. We showed you warming up last inning. Comes on for Matt Scott, the freshman. Dixon, the junior, with an 0-2 up high. You like going to Dixon here?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I mean, I think it's whatever feel is telling you at that point. Now, that Scott looked fine when he was in there, but they're kind of like Texas early. You're not going to waste any time. Go to your best, and Dixon starts it off right. Backdoor breaking ball right there. First out, he gets Porter Brown looking.
When 95 up, came back through the back door there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good back-to-back right there. So before it was 95 at the letters. Now this one, backdoor breaking ball that catches the outside part.
This game and this series have been nuts. Numbers for Dixon, super experienced arm, much like Quinn Matthews, who again went yesterday for Stanford in a Game 2 Cardinal win. Eric Kennedy squares and pulls back. He's got 40-plus bunt singles in his 5-year career in Austin.
I think he's taking one. If he's squaring that early, I think he's probably taking one here. I think he was there.
No square. Takes a strike. Kennedy's second team Big 12 this year. Dixon's 1-1. Kennedy pops this up. Shallow left center, and Alberto Rios. 2 down. Two outs hasn't been much to the Texas offense in this game. It's kind of been go time for them. See what they do here with the freshman DH Jalen Flores out of the 7th spot, who has walked twice. Ground down to fly out as well. For the prized blue chip recruit in year 1 with the Horns. First pitch. Off speed for a land strike. Joey Dixon's 1-1 is outside as well. With the left side miss with the heater. Hey, you can watch SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt over on ESPN2 if you're looking for that for NBA Finals post-game coverage. We've got your college baseball fix right here. Best time of the year. 2 weeks from now, we will have a national champion. 3-1, and Flores works a 3rd walk. So, 2 outs. Texas threatens. They've done that throughout this ballgame.
Each of the last 2 times that Flores has walked, he's come around to score.
They will run for him here. Jaden Duplantier has come off the bench in this series as well already. He can move. He's out at first with 2 outs, and the batter is Jack O'Dowd. He's had himself a ball game, as you said last time. 3-run double. He cleared the bases to the pull side in the 4th. Walked out 4 pitches in the 6th. Opposite field double in the 8th inning, when Texas got 3. O'Dowd fouls off the 1st. He looks pretty confident.
He knew he'd be hunting. I mean, he's been aggressive early in the count. We're talking about the patience of this Texas team, and it's been there. That time was hunting first pitch fastball. Just missed it.
He said before the postseason, this is the time of the year you want to be playing your best baseball. I feel good about where I'm at. This play has backed that up. 0-1. Fouled away, 0-2 for Joey Dixon. 0-2. Joe digs to go pop a blood vessel. Fired up. Bottom 9 next. Each team has had 2 3-run innings in this Game 3 for a trip to the Men's College World Series. They've both been to 2 in a row. Only 2 teams left this year that were in Omaha last year. They've been mainstays. These are heavyweight programs. Titans in this sport. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning, tied at 6.
Kind of feels like this is the way this thing should have had to come right down to the back. Texas punches back in the 8th to get it to the 9th, tied at 6. But all 3 of these games have been outstanding.
Lucas Gordon to Carter Graham. First pitch swinging. 3, 4, and 5 for Stanford. Carter Graham, one of the best RBI men in the entire country. First team Pac-12. OPS right around 1,000. Gordon off speed again, 0-2.
Back-to-back changeups. Neither one of them were going to catch the plate, but Carter Graham, you talked about earlier, trying to see that up. That changeup for Gordon, you got to see it up, but be careful now because he can freeze you with an 0-2 fastball.
Gordon deals. This is down. Carter Graham's confident. When informed earlier this weekend that we will be in Omaha next week, he said, "Oh, we'll see you there next weekend."
Got a chance to take care of it himself right here.
1-2. Graham lines it toward left center, and Porter Brown comes in for out number 1.
For Lucas Gordon right there, it was 4 straight changeups, and it was just, I'll dare you to hit this one. If you could lay off of it the entire time, I'll show you something else, but I dare you to hit the changeup. Carter Graham swung through 2 of them. That one got him right on the end of the bat.
You wonder if that's a similar recipe to Braden Montgomery, because this guy's been really good at the plate all series. Cleanup man. Switch hitter from the right side this time against the southpaw. Comes home with a fastball for strike 1. A walk, a 2-run single, and a single to right center for Braden Montgomery. Big cut, 0-2. Oh-2 pitch. Montgomery strikes out. How about Lucas Gordon?
I mean, he's just simplifying. He just keeps throwing the same thing in the same spot that Stanford hadn't been able to lay off. There was another changeup down and away to the right-hander. Montgomery, the switch hitter, but hitting from the right side here, and it's just a steady dose of changeups. And it's that one that you think is going to stay in the zone, but Gordon's just a plus change. It doesn't. Both outs in this inning on that same pitch, and that's about all he's throwing right now.
It's the Pac-12 Player of the Year against the Big 12 Pitcher of the Year with 2 outs. Alberto Rios takes ball 1. Relatively quiet in this 3-game Super Regional for Alberto Rios. His junior season, anything but. Gordon's 1-0. Big swing. I mean, Gordon keeps on pulling that string. This guy was the MVP of the pitching staff, David Pierce said to us last year. The Rock this year. They turned to him after he was the starter 2 days ago on Saturday in Game 1 of this Super Regional. Two-one pitch. Rios takes the strike, 2-2.
Stole a strike with a fastball right there. It'd been changeup. And for Rios, you're trying to see it up, but that one, I don't think you think you're going to get a fastball. He pumped it in there to even a count.
2-2 pitch. Rios pulls it. Line to left. Oh no, off the wall. He thought it was a home run. Tosses his helmet. And he
think everybody thought it was a home run. He thought it was. It got lost in the white of the Pac-12 sign on the wall out there.
Wow. Rios avoided being tagged. So he is at second at worst. Another look. I think just square off the side.
Yeah, I think it just got lost in the white out there. And you lose it for a minute. Rios gets lost in the white. Right now, he doesn't know what's going on. He turns around thinking everybody's coming. Now he's got to scoot into second base. I mean, listen, man, there's a ton of emotion in every moment like that. But the base running today for Stanford just about got him again, because it has not been good up to that point. That one just about took a double off the board.
They have run into outs, and they've almost run into outs. And you can see, based on the look from Alberto Rios, frustrated that that was as close as it was to being an out at second base.
Just right at the base of the wall. And, I mean, give Porter Brown credit, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he gave him a chance right there. Throw got in there in time. I got to think, I mean, the only thing you could argue right there, I think, is you taking the helmet off and throwing it, and does it affect defensively the balance of the play?
And then everyone came out of the dugout as well, perhaps, part of the discussion. So David Pierce had a conversation with Kevin Sweeney. Now David Esker comes out as well. And Rios did get in safely.
And the helmet definitely doesn't affect the play right there. I mean, there's plenty of times helmets, I mean, you generally don't throw them off. Sometimes guys will tip them off if they're coming around first base. I mean, you would hope in a situation like this, it's dugout warning, and then let's play.
I mean, it wasn't close in hindsight to being over the wall, although it appeared that way to the Stanford dugout and a certain play-by-play guy as well.
Blame the white out in left field. I was with you.
Well, it'll mean Rios at second and Malcolm Moore. Two up next. Here comes Woody Williams, pitching coach for Texas, to chat with Lucas Gordon.
And we're talking scouting report here, because Gordon's not going anywhere.
No.
If he's in this game, especially left on left, I don't think he's leaving it. Generally, Woody Williams ain't going to go out there and make a move anyway. But this is just scouting report. All right, you got Moore and you got Bowser. So we got left-hander here. We got right-hander coming up next. The changeup has been so good against the right-hander so far. Then you got Moore coming up, who's done maybe as much damage as anybody but Bowser in this Stanford lineup so far this week.
Pac-12 Freshman of the Year has looked the part in his first Super Regional.
Yeah, he has. This was dead center. 4 home runs for Stanford this weekend. Malcolm Moore has one of them, and he's really using middle of the field pretty consistently. We faced Gordon last time, was 1 for 2. Walked, doubled, and grounded out.
He's got a chance to be the hero. 2 outs, Rios at second. First pitch, cut on and miss. Fastball didn't miss by much. The 1-1. Moore nips it, and he's down 1-2.
There's a changeup again against left-handers. Gordon, pretty fastball heavy. He throws a fastball over 75% of the time. That one's really good tonight. He was really good against the righties. That time, Malcolm Moore all the way out in front.
Couple fastballs, then that change. Now one from Lucas Gordon. On a 1-2. Fastball misses to make it 2-2. This game has had everything. Two home. Just misses and a full count. These pitches have all been around the perimeter. From Lucas Gordon. Man at second, 2 outs. 3-2 to Moore. Ball fourth. Trying to change. 2 on for Drew Bowser. So Drew Bowser, if you're just joining us, has homered 3 times in the 3 games of this Super Regional. Most recently in this game, he's seen the nasty right-on-right of Zane Morehouse.
He has, and everything was cut away. And to the right-handers so far that Gordon has faced, he's been really change-up heavy. I don't think anything changes right here against Bowser.
Lucas Gordon's first. Fastball misses. 2-run shot came in the second in this one for Bowser. 425 feet. 1-0. Big swing over the top, and it's 1-1. And the 7th swing and miss this inning for Lucas Gordon.
And all have been on that pitch.
1-1 to Bowser. Bowser skies this one. And they don't spot it. Kennedy looking for it, and it drops. Stanford wins. And is going to Omaha. Wow. In the twilight sky.
It's that time of night where the lights really haven't taken yet. It's not dark enough, and if you don't see it off the bat, you're not going to find it. 4 separate guys didn't see it. O'Dowd, Daly, Kennedy, Campbell all had the exact same movements in the outfield. It was that move that you see all the best players do when they can't see it. And the arms kind of go out, and they're searching as much as they possibly can. Nobody could find it. And a ball that looked like a harmless fly ball off the bat instead lands, and that doesn't feel like the way this one should have ended. Honestly, I mean, these last 3 days have been so good, and you put it in play, good things can happen, but they just couldn't find it.
I don't know if there could be a more heartbreaking way for a season to end.
Watch the movements. I tell you, the only one that saw it was Daly. He was pointing. Daly saw it, but nobody else saw it. O'Dowd didn't see it at second. Campbell didn't see it right. Kennedy didn't see it in center. It's going to go as a walk-off winner for Drew Bowser. What a game. We saw about everything you could in this one.
Alberto Rios thought he had a walk-off home run. Somehow made it onto second base anyway, helmetless. And then for Stanford, this was a gift from on high that dropped down. Gordon thought he was headed to extras, and instead, the Cardinal goes to Omaha, and Quinn Matthews' collegiate career continues in Nebraska.
Partner, that was a fun 3 days.
Was it ever?
We saw a whole lot in this game, and sometimes you don't always see. And for it to end like that, man, you feel for the kids from Texas. Obviously, celebrate Stanford moving on, but you feel for those kids in Burnt Orange right now because, I I mean, you could see the reaction of Lucas Gordon. He was walking off the field right then, pointed up in the air, but nobody saw it, and Stanford's headed to Omaha.
They will get Wake Forest on Saturday. You can flip over to ESPNU and watch who emerges to Omaha between Southern Miss and Tennessee, and then the Men's College World Series begins on Friday. Euphoria for Stanford and heartbreak for Texas. That look says it all from Braden Montgomery. That just happened. That'll do it. 7-6 in crazy walk-off fashion. Stanford over Texas. For Kyle Peterson and our entire crew behind the scenes, led by Scott Matthews and Billy Proctor, I'm Mike Monaco saying thanks for watching. So long from Palo Alto, California. Coming up next, it is SportsCenter with Scott Van Pelt. Stanford Steve's got to like that.